Hello and welcome everybody. This is DH Thorne being joined by my beautiful, lovely, stunning, and a little bit crazy wife. We decided to do a little bit of a fun live stream today to celebrate the return of hopefully freedom of speech, at least on one of the major platforms of the internet. So hello and welcome. For those who don't know, this is Camilla, my wife. Say hello everybody, Camilla.
Hi everyone, it's good to be here today. I was gifted a day off, a surprising day off.
Yes, I decided not to work her extra in the fields today since everyone... No, quite literally she does like work in the fields every day. So, yeah, so what's up everybody? Nameless says, haha, I was hoping you'd have something to say about this. Squirrel Sniper's here. Well, welcome Squirrel Sniper. Make sure you cook them good because, I don't know, squirrels don't taste good to me. I never liked squirrels that much. Gogo says, how are you, legend? Hi, Camilla. What's up? And Alex says, hey there. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different things today. We're not just going to talk about the Elon thing, although that is sort of my most interesting thing I want to talk about today. It's the most important thing, probably. I think this is a very Luciferian concept. It's a very important thing that we bring up. You know, I want to make certain things clear, okay? I want to make things clear going into this, that this is not even political. This goes beyond political. And we're going to talk politics, but this thing with Elon goes beyond politics. Politics is like, you know, people arguing over bullshit, okay? This is existential stuff. This, you know, freedom of speech is not politics. Freedom of speech is not politics. You know, whether you should be taxed to you know, help poor people, that's politics. Freedom of speech, freedom of self-defense, all these different things that are human rights, they're not politics. That's not political. Okay, political things are different from existential things that are a major part of our human experience. Okay, these are not politics. This things we're going to talk about are not politics. It's not about who you're going to vote for, although that enters into the conversation. This goes beyond politics. This is about human rights, just period, and what's the right thing for society. So let's say hi to some more people. Nameless says, dude, Sean King even deleted his account before Elon made any sudden movements. I hear he's back. Talcum X, what's his name called?
Martin Luther Cream.
Martin Luther Cream. Screw that guy. Oh my god.
There was another one too.
Yeah, what was
I forget what it was, but it was a good one too.
We might get deplatformed for making fun of him here because he's a major figure and we're bullying him, I guess.
That's okay.
So, I am going to be using Twitter more soon. I already have a Twitter account, but I don't know if I want to share it. I've been like such a dirty bastard on there, like trolling people, that I don't know if I want to share that one. I'll probably make a new one that's like a professional account there because I don't know. I've said some pretty rancid things, like even things that like I don't necessarily agree with, but just to piss people off. So I don't know. Twitter's such a fucking dumpster fire. I swear to God.
It really is.
But that's gonna make it fun now because instead of being like fighting with one hand tied behind your back, we're gonna get to fight for real.
It's gonna be even. Fair.
It's gonna be more even. Yeah, and it's already showing. And we're going to talk about that more as we go along. Stephen Kosovich says, greetings, just want to say hello and wish everyone the best. Need to sleep. Get some sleep. You'll be able to watch this in the morning for sure. Yeah.
Rest is important.
Yeah. Vince Casimir says, hello, guy, or hi, guys. Good to see you both, DH and Camilla. What's going on? Faustian says, hello to all Twittarians. And so the ghost of T is about to be summoned. The ghost of T. Yeah. Oh, there's so much going on. Let's let the chat fill up a little bit. Like, share, and subscribe this guy. We only got 14 people watching, which is fine. It's kind of like a weird time to stream without any warning. I'm actually always happy when I get a bunch of people showing up on short notice. And I found that like if I really like promote a stream, it doesn't make that much of a difference. It's got to be a regular schedule, and even then people just have to want to. Or it's got to be like just a sudden spur of the moment thing at a time when you think people are going to be interested in watching. And I figure a lot of people are going to be getting off of work soon. They're going to see that we're streaming now. It's a good time for this. Maybe you'll be watching it on the ride home, which is cool. And we'll get to talk about so much of this stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we're not just going to stick to these current events topics. We will talk about some spirituality as you guys request it. But I wanted to get some of this off my chest. Some of this, you probably hear some new chirping in the background. I got a new bird. I got a parrotlet, and she is absolutely a firebrand, a little spitfire. She is a murderer. She's going to take some training, and luckily I have a pretty good idea of how to train birds, but I've also been doing some research to get a better idea, because she is very juvenile and very nippy and bitey, like in a playful way.
She's out for blood.
She's out, like, she cut me a couple times already. Like, no, I'm no joke.
She bit my finger, and you know that sound that you make when you bite into a skinned hot dog? Yeah, that pop is what my finger did.
Yeah, and she's not aggressive, like not in a I'm angry at you or scared of you kind of way. It's more like, what happens if I bite this really hard? Like it's curiosity more than anything. Only once or twice has she shown aggression or displeasure, but they're hand raised. This one I got, so she's extra really sweet. But look them up, parrotlets. They're a true parrot. So even though they're little teeny little things, like a chickadee is about the same size.
She's like that tall.
Yeah, she's a tiny little, she weighs 30 grams. She's so small. So even though she's really, really small, they've got the attitude of a full Amazon parrot. I'm talking like a big, angry, like, chew your face off parrot. So they're really smart, and they're really one of the smartest bird breeds, actually, from what I understand. So that makes me happy. She's actually really upset and happy at the same time right now, because she wants to be out and raising chaos on my shoulder. But I'm doing a stream, so she's not going to be able to come out, so oh well.
I'm going to be honest, if you can't afford a $5,000 puppy, which is all we have in our area, get a frickin' bird.
Yeah, we don't live out in the country where you can just drive down the road and be like, anybody got a dog? Like, it's just not like that, so you end up...
It's breeders only, and you cannot get puppies otherwise.
All purebreds, all very expensive. Or you go to the shelters. I was going to say, well, why don't you go to the shelter? Just so you guys know, a lot of those shelters, according to the people that we know, they're actually pretty shady. Like even the big national ones, they're actually more shady than they sound. They will go to these breeders, find ways to declare them puppy mills, then take the dogs and give them away, but they'll end up putting them in bed, like not really. How much better conditions are they?
Yeah.
So,
and most of them are kill shelters.
A lot of them are kill shelters, yeah. So you end up with, it's a very, it was a big to-do about nothing in a lot of ways. Yes, I'm not saying you can't find ways to make sure breeders are taking better care of animals. I don't have anything against that.
Right.
But some of the legislation has just been nonsense.
But that's why dogs are so fucking expensive right now, too.
Yeah.
Like
$5,500 for like,
when we got our dog 15 years ago, we got her from a pet store, because every dog we saw at the kennels was extra TLC and not for children under 12. Every single one of them.
Yep.
And extra TLC means they need medicine for the rest of their life.
Yep.
I'm all about helping animals, I am, but I can't physically get the free medicine from the shelters every month because I work insane hours at times. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. And it's not that when they say TLC, like I still feel bad because it's like, it's not their fault. It's not
their fault.
So I don't know. Like, we're animal people. If you know us, you know that we're animal people. Oh, who's talking?
Oh, that's our cockatiel.
That's the cockatiel.
He's saying, what you doing?
What you doing? What you doing? And my dog wants attention. This is an animal stream. We're going to talk about Elon Musk. We're talking about animals instead.
Well, not for nothing. I mean, the animals are politicized too.
That's
case in point with the shelters.
What did I say years ago? I said when they start coming after your dogs and stuff, like something's up. Like you can't own a gun, you can't have a dog. What can you have? Like what like all these symbols of people are like, oh, this is toxic masculinity. What about these symbols of independent? A lot of times things that make you independent are conflated with toxic masculinity. What about having a big dog and a nice gun and a nice car and a blah, 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 blah? It's like they're trying to emasculate everybody in a way that's not helpful. Like, we're not talking about curbing, what they would call toxic masculinity in a bad way. We're talking about literally every form of masculinity they're trying to curb. And it really kind of sucks. And it's not masculine. It's just independence. It's being free that they don't like. And it just so happens that one of the quickest ways to get rid of your freedom is to attack masculinity, by the way, just so you know. But we're not gonna make that argument today. This is YouTube, where I can still be shadow banned and blocked and everything else. We're not on Twitter, where now you're free. Ironic, isn't that? So, Andrew Coles has asked an interesting point. Wasn't Elon Musk supposed to help out with Flint water crisis and end world hunger with $6 billion? I don't remember exactly how that turned out. I do remember that he did exactly what I would have probably done. You know, people were saying you could end world hunger if you just donate this much money and blah, blah, blah. And he asked them he said, show me the thing, the study, show me the plan, and I'll do it. That's the last I heard. So, look, I don't think Elon Musk is some kind of a saint, right? I think that one of the things that we're getting on the side of the fence that's opposite of the left, whatever that is, because the left is going where the left never has. The left has become this toxic authoritarian, like they've become the neo-puritanical lunatics of the last gen. Like that's what they have become. They're no longer for free speech. They're not for anything smart. They're not for anything safe. They're literally just trying to control people, and they have this new puritanical mindset. So I'm not even going to treat them like they matter anymore. They really don't. But the right isn't necessarily like, oh my gosh, so much better, by the way. You know, you have the hard conservative people on the right. Now, I'm a libertarian. To me, like, far conservatism is not good either. I don't want people taking away, obviously gay rights. And I don't want people telling me what to do with my body. I don't want them outlawing, certain procedures and things like that just because it offends them or whatever. But at the same time, I don't want those things foisted on me, and I don't want, children being involved and all this kind of stuff. So it's a big complicated thing. And that's where it starts to get more into politics rather than human, spiritual rights and all that stuff. My dog's trying to get my attention. Hey, excuse me. Go lay down. Go on. Go lay down. Go home. You want to go in the bathroom? You want to go in the bathroom and wait? You want to go wait in the bathroom? Go home. Go lay down. Go on. Thank you.
She wants a biscuit.
She does, but she just got one.
She wants another.
She does. So yes, I don't think that Elon is some kind of a saint that's here to do everything that we all want. Here's the thing that I want to say. People, regardless of their political or social or identity or whatever, regardless of your views, we have been conditioned in our society to seek out ideals that meet with our ideologue type of mentality. In other words, instead of being like, this person's more like what I like, so I support them, we are only allowed to support people that match what we think is right in every single way. Like, we've become purists, like puritanical in politics. This is why it drives me a little nuts when someone says, well, how can you support Trump if he was against bump stocks and blah, 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 blah? Or how can you be just whatever? Like people will find like a thing to criticize, as if that somehow makes it impossible, as if I'm not able to when someone goes sailing, right? They don't wait for the wind that goes only where they're going. Like, if you're trying to go north, you don't wait for the wind that's only going north. You learn how to use the different currents of air to get you where you want to go. If you want to go north and the wind's blowing south, there's actually a way to do that. You tack into the wind. The only thing that really sucks is when there's no wind. So long as there's wind, you can get somewhere. So even someone that I don't want, like, say, Biden, there's ways to make that go where you want to. There's ways to have that turn into what you want. And I think we're seeing that. I think we're seeing a civilization where people are seeing what happens when the other side's fully in control, and they don't like that either. A lot of people are waking up because of it, because they're overreacting. So
I just need to get a charger for my headphones.
Of course.
They're starting to go dead on me.
Yeah, and Faustian says, no car, no gun, no pets. It's not about masculinity. It's about you being in control that needs to go. Exactly. But they'll label a lot of those things masculine. Like, they'll say, oh, you're just a toxic male. That's why you want a big dog and a gun. No, I want what I want. There's nothing to do with that. My wife wants a big dog and a gun. Like,
oh yeah.
Are you a hyper masculine? No, I mean, very feminine person. So what's the deal? Let's see. Nameless says very wisely, says, I'd also argue we are conditioned to rely more on the state than ourselves as the people. Independence has nearly become a foreign concept. Bingo! Exactly. Year by year, generation by generation, we're expected to fall back on the government more and more all the time. Asking for permission to do things that were once considered normal. Worrying about, will I get banned, shadow banned, blocked, or somehow, canceled for having an opinion that people don't like. Now, I'm a weirdo. Obviously, I'm sitting here in a robe doing a live stream about Elon Musk with a thing of, a Luciferian tapestry. My wife's sitting there, crazy as can be. We're not normal people. I sort of feel like a little bit like the Joker sometimes. Like I walk around in public and I go, wow, look at all these people who are normal, and I got like the face paint on. That's how I feel sometimes. So I'm used to it, but not a lot of people are. Not a lot of people are used to being an outcast or a black sheep or someone who goes against the grain. And so speaking out for something they believe in or don't believe in can really be difficult sometimes. And I almost don't care. If it destroys my ability to, be popular as an occultist, oh well. There's some things that are more important than having no opinion just to make sure I have a job, right? I don't believe in that. I've never believed. That's why I've had jobs where they're like, you can't say that stuff. You can't have that opinion and hold the job here. Well, too bad. I'm not going to play that game. So, all right. So one of the things that's interesting about the Elon situation is how quickly people are revealing their true colors. And specifically the ones I'm talking about are the people that are hyperventilating. And one of the most telling ones, there's two of them that are really important. One is the EU came out, I guess it was today or yesterday, I don't remember when, with a public statement, more or less. I forget which news service they went through. And they said something to the effect of warning Elon that they have rules about free speech. And that if he violates them, they will fine him and remove him and all this other stuff. Like, the man hasn't even taken control yet. He said he just wants to allow freedom of speech. Like, or he even just said in a tweet something to the effect of, it's not that I want you to say, like, the N-word or something. It's that anything that is legal, I want you to be able to say. And that, there will come maybe a point where certain things are illegal to say, like dissent from the government. So my question is, if a country says that you can't speak against the government, will Elon honor that? I'm hoping he would just say to hell with you and be like, fine, block me from your country. But we'll see how that goes. But then, so the EU immediately threatens him, which is very telling. And then the White House, within an hour of it being announced that Elon, it was pretty much gonna happen. What's her name? Jen Psaki or whatever friggin' idiotic person says, comes out and says that the White House is already with ideas for Section 230. I mean, this tells you everything. They're petrified of the idea of an outsider. I'm not even sure he's an outsider, of someone who's standing against them, someone who's not part of their game, having a little bit of control and opening up the floodgates a little bit and making a level playing field. Do you have any idea what it would be like if people weren't having these discussions with fear of being shadow banned and censored and shut down on social media? Do you have any idea? I'm not afraid of the opinion of other people. That has never made me hesitate. I've never hesitated because I've been afraid some idiot is going to expose me as some kind of a right-wing person. Whatever you think I am, I don't give a shit. I have no criminal record. I've got no history. You could dig on me as deep as you want. The worst you're going to find is like, I don't own a car. Like we have one car in the house. Like, ooh, I'm not like this millionaire I've never claimed to be. So you're not going to find anything. There's literally no skeletons in my closet. And if I did, they'd protect themselves anyway. So I'm not ashamed of anything I have to say. I'm not afraid of people having negative things to say about me because of my opinions about things. It's never really made me worried. What bothers me, if anything, is like on my Facebook page, which I consider my personal, like my not my public page, but my personal profile. That's my personal profile. and you send me a friend request, meaning you want to be my friend. I know it's just words, but I take that as a literal contract. You send me a friend request on Facebook. You're not just following me. You can follow me on my Facebook page. You can follow me on my personal profile. But if you're sending me a friend request, you want me to acknowledge you, and you want to be able to interact with me and have something to do with me. So if you friend request me and then you start talking shit and acting nasty and insulting to me, you're not my friend, so why should I tolerate you? So I block or unfriend you. This is a no-brainer. Like, I don't see how this is controversial. Some people do, though, I guess.
Oh, but you're just being sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'm just being sensitive. I guess I'm just being a bitch. That's a hallmark of toxic narcissists. And people like that. They will gaslight you when you defend themselves. I'm not saying that anyone who counters your arguments is gaslighting you or vice versa. What I'm saying is if you have not, you can, I mean, I'm open for people to review my work. If you read my posts, I don't start off targeting anybody. I might make a broad statement. People who say this, I disagree with or something. Someone will show up and start saying nasty things about me personally. At which point, then the gloves come off. I say, "Fuck you, get out of here!" Like we're not on the same page. We're not friends right now.
Well, it's really telling when it's the only interaction they've ever have with you. They friend you and they lurk, and then fly off the handle with shit like that.
Yeah. And they fly off the handle, and then when you say something in response, they'll say, "Oh, why are you overreacting? Are you triggered? Are you triggered? Why did you talk shit? Like, we're not actual friends, bro. Like,
You don't owe them anything.
Well, it's also like,
other than common courtesy, and if they don't give it to you, why the hell shouldn't you give it to them?
In real life, I'm open to a certain amount of ribbing from actual friends, people I know to trust. But if you're just some stranger online and you're talking shit and you're saying things that are clearly meant to insult, I'm going to react to it in a way that says, go away. This isn't rocket science. But so like I'm saying, I'm not really afraid of the slings and arrows of haters. What I'm really worried about is censorship. If I say the wrong thing, I could lose access to the tiny little insignificant thread of income that I have through social media. I even wonder if Amazon got wind of my political views, because it wasn't long after the election that my book sales started to go on a nosedive, as if they were throttling how often they showed my books. It's either that. One person said, well, you had your books out for a while, so maybe that was it. And I said, yeah, but here's the thing. My oldest book was still getting shown a lot and was still selling a lot. After 2 years, it was still selling a lot. So, and by a lot, I mean for my standards. It's not like not like in a top 10 book club or something.
It was consistent. It was pretty consistent to all of a sudden just drop to like
as soon
zero.
as I started getting political publicly, it was like within a month or two, it just went. And now it's like not even enough to, it's like one paycheck worth. It's like one small weekly paycheck. It's not even what it was. So, it's really kind of sad. And so I wondered, did Bezos get wind of my politics? Obviously, I'm not that important. But I do wonder, like, obviously these tech companies communicate with each other, because when you get deplatformed off of one, within 48 hours, you're deplatformed off of all of them in a lot of cases, if you're a big, nasty person that they don't agree with.
Well, I mean, also, a lot of these accounts are linked together. Like, you have your LINKTREE page and all that, and it's so easy to say, oh, this is my Facebook and my Twitter, and it's all like every single social media web page there is, you can list them all out.
Yeah, we're in the same house, Jayla. We're actually in the same room. That's why if you're hearing an echo, that's why. I do apologize if that's an issue, but yeah, it's cute. We're married. What do you want?
We are literally 5 feet away from each other.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So, here's the thing you guys got to realize. Most of these systems are DARPA. They're DARPA funded, DARPA controlled. They're deep black projects that the government knows about. And a lot of their data on you doesn't just go to China. It goes to the same system that was listening to what you had to say after 9/11. So they do track you with all this stuff, all of it. I know people in the tech industry that warn me about this. They're like, you need to go open source. You need to get off of, Microsoft products, you need to do this and that and six other. And I agree, but unfortunately, I don't have that energy. Like, that is just not me. I'm not that tech literate. I'm tech literate, but I am not like bleeding edge tech literate. And I'm not, I'm not a boomer, but I'm not a Gen Z who's got a Linux boot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm running a basic OS and I'm doing things like everybody else does. And they're not wrong, but what needs to happen is a complete and utter overhaul of our socio-political system that allows that. That's what's got to change. We've got to stop, just saying, oh, well, we're going to go hide in the woods and not use their system anymore. That's an important fallback. I'm not saying stop, but I'm saying that can't be the final solution. That's part of the final solution. And someone's going to take that out of context. Or, oh, Thorne's talking about the final solution. Caesar right now. I'm just kidding, guys. Relax. But that's part of a final solution to the problem is to, of course, be independent, be able to go off grid, use alt tech, all that good stuff. And I'm going to continue to do that. BitChute's always going to be my other service, especially if YouTube gets taken down or throttled further. Then that's that. I'll just have to use BitChute more. But we've got to take back what our tax dollars, or if you're in another country, your ad revenue, funded to create. And we've got to take that back. We can't just let them have it. We got to stop backing off and being pussies. And that's what I'm seeing a big shift is people changing that a little bit and starting to fight back. We need to find our voice. I'm not just talking, look, especially, here's the thing. I have no home. If I go into the right-wing section of the internet, it's filled with conservative Christians who take one look at what I do and they will immediately hate me. If I go on the left-wing side of the internet, I will be immediately embraced because of how I look and what I practice. Until I open my mouth about politics, then I'm shunned. And I'm sure if you're watching this stream and you're not triggered by what I'm saying, you don't hate me, you feel the same way. You don't feel like you have a home because you might agree politically with one group, but socially with the other, or some mixture somewhere. And it's really depressing. It's really, really depressing to be in that boat. And I've got to tell you that the reason you feel like you're in that boat is because, unfortunately, left-hand path spirituality has become a little too mainstream. And it's not left-hand path spirituality that's mainstream. It's the shadow of it, the mask of it that's become popularized. I was thinking this today because some self-proclaimed big-time Satanist got all uppity with me about Mass the other day. And I'm thinking, like, how can you, I don't want to pull a no true Scotsman, but how can you claim to be left-hand satanic Luciferian and be like, a govern me harder daddy type of person? How can you be that person? How does that even compute? Is it because you just got one identitarian issue that you want to, how many, here's the thing, show of hands, how many people know what I'm talking about when I say that there's way too many Satanists who are Satanists only because they're bigots against Christians, not because they actually believe in Satanistic things? How many Luciferians and left-hand path people are Luciferian and left-hand path only because of maybe a gender identity or because they're mad at Christians or something? How many of them are that only because they're excluded from the other things? And so they fell back on that. How many of them are actually that and not actually believing or practicing those principles?
They're just as closed-minded as the Christians.
Maybe even worse.
Maybe even worse.
Because instead of like founding their own identity or standing up for their own beliefs, they've fallen into another and tried to take that over. Listen, the left-hand path is agnostic about many things about your sexuality, about all of that shit, doesn't matter. That's why it's never been an issue for me. I have no issue whatsoever. I am not like conservative, okay? I have my limits though. Leave my fucking kids alone. Don't be freaking, trying to push my kids into certain beliefs or whatever. Let my kids develop naturally, whatever they are. If they happen to be, different gender than what we thought or whatever, then that will reveal itself, and then we'll handle that when that happens. Don't be trying to teach my kids what gender they are. Don't be trying to change them. Just let them develop naturally. And in fact, don't talk to them about it until they're a certain age. Do you mind? You know, maybe when they're teenagers, if it comes up, I'll let you guys. Until then, no, you don't get to tell my kids what's normal, okay?
As parents, it's our job to support our kids. If they have questions,
that's our job too.
it's your job to answer them. It's not up to the teachers, it's not up to the government, it's not up to the medical professionals to answer questions to your kids about sexuality until a certain age when they reach sex ed.
Right. And even then, a kid should be able to say, no, I don't want to hear this crap. You know, it's really up to them to a point. But yes, I mean, like with our own child, we were very supportive even at a young age. We're like, whatever you turn out to be, dude, you know, but these are the consequences of whatever it is. And here's what the norms look like, because my wife and I are pretty obviously normal when it comes, you know, the gender norms, we pretty much display them. This is what a normal, you know, I guess we are a nuclear family. This is what a nuclear family looks like. And this is how we operate. This is what a guy does. This is how a girl generally does. Not as a limit, but just as an example, guys. That's what a role model is. It's not an example of limits. It's an example of what works. That's all. I mean, what's the problem? And if, as he got older, he changed his mind and said, you know, look, I think I'm female, you know, we would be supportive to a point, but with consequence in mind. You're not going to be doing things that change your body until you're really old enough to make that decision, which is not 10, 11, 12. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't care what you think. It's just not. I don't think for us, that's not the right time. So yeah. So anyway, we're getting off into some things that'll definitely get you shadow banned here, but what I'm trying to illustrate is that there are limits. I'm not okay with pedophiles. I'm not with people, you know, having sex ed conversations with the kindergartner. I'm not okay with certain things. But that doesn't mean that I'm against your life. I'm not against your lifestyle, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You all know that one of my best friends is Flesh Priest. You know, he's very sex positive and all that. And so are we within a reasonable degree. So we're not conservatives. I don't fit in at church. I don't fit in with those people. We don't agree on much. You know, I want an inclusive society in the most libertarian sense of the word. It doesn't mean forced tolerance or forced acceptance, but I want people to realize that everyone's a human being. I don't know, I guess I'm humanitarian at heart. I want people to respect one another as human beings, first and foremost, and then after that, you can have your little tribes. You know, if you can respect other people for what they are, then you can have a little tribe that you feel like you belong to, you know? And so this is what happens. People sit, like today, my wife and I were at the pet store. And I wasn't wearing the robe. I was wearing the trench coat. And my wife is wearing her badass outfit. And we're looking like biker goths from the next dimension or some shit, going to buy cute little rattles for a bird and stuff for our dog and just cutesy shit. And this person walks up to us, and I would say possibly non-binary. You know, I don't know. I don't like to assume too much. But comes up to us and loves our outfits and compliments us. And I felt bad. And I'll tell you why. Because my gut reflex wasn't just thank you. It was, I bet you if you knew who we voted for, you wouldn't like us, which is, you know why that's bad? Because that's not fair to them. They might be the sweetest person who doesn't care about those things. And I'm revealing my own shadow here, guys. I'm revealing it, like, try not to judge me. I'm actually laying it out on the line here to tell you that I don't like that. I don't like that I can't interact with somebody thinking they probably wouldn't like me just because of what I believe politically and socially.
Well, here's another...
Even though we would agree on so... Yeah, go ahead.
Another side to the coin, one of our favorite stores to go to is another pet store, a little mom and pop's place. And they are very much in tune with what we think. We walk in the door, they think we're Bernie bros.
Right,
But
at first.
At first. We struck up conversations with the owner, and she's like, oh, no, you guys are fucking cool, you know, whatever. But I would have pegged you for the opposite side of the aisle.
And this is what, you know, this is one of the reasons why I am outspoken. For those of you watching who don't understand, why is Thorne speaking out about these things? Isn't he worried he's going to get canceled? Of course I'm worried. It's because you need to know you're not alone. Someone mentioned, you know, EA got canceled. Exactly. You need to know you're not alone. And he got canceled. He's nowhere near as political as I am. He doesn't have anywhere near the opinions I have. He just wants to be left alone to practice what he practices, make his money, sell his books, do what he does, you know, not be canceled all over the place for shit he probably, my opinion, didn't do, had nothing to do with. We all want the same thing. We want to be left alone to practice what we practice. We're not hurting anybody. And a lot of you guys watching me, you might think, why is he on this again? Maybe you're not on this. That's fine. You don't have to be. I'm not on this all the time. But a lot of people need to hear you're not alone. We've got to maintain our voice. Okay? There was a time when we were not afraid to be out and open in the public about what we believed and talked about. So what's happened? Why have you gotten scared? Why are you suddenly cowardly? Why are you suddenly afraid to lock horns with people? Why do you let your family and friends and neighbors give you shit for your beliefs if you're not hurting anybody? Remember, I have the caveat, your freedom ends where mine begins, right? And vice versa. I don't want my freedom to impose on you over much, with a certain assumption of risk. If I drive a car down the road, I'm assuming a risk that you might run me over. If I have freedom of speech, I'm running the risk I might offend you, or that you might be offended and get mad at me. Right? That kind of stuff should be the norm. That should be the norm. It's the only rational position. I've been over this in my head millions of times as a person growing to maturity. What's the rational side? To have a position and force everyone to believe it? Well, no, that's never really, it's worked in the technical, yes, it's worked. We've had societies that have done that, and there was a lot of bloodshed because of it. You know which one worked the best? The one where we stopped doing that. That's when we had the most success as a species, is when we let people believe what they want, do what they want, leave them alone, let them believe what they want and do what they want, so long as they're not hurting anyone. Are you a consenting adult? End of discussion. If you're a consenting adult, do as thou will. What's the deal? And I don't usually like to use that as that. Everyone knows. I actually refer to that as that's not a question of doing what you want, but you get what I mean. Me Too says, I love all people, including the gender identity people. But what if I heard is true about parents giving their kids hormones? I can't let that ride. I pretty much agree 100%. Like, I was going to make a meme where it said, like, you know, I'm an ally of LGBTQ people, and I am. Is there a limit? Yes, there is. Where's that limit? Prepubescent people being, you know, I know that people will say it's safe. Some will say it's safe and some won't. But if we don't let a kid decide what college to go to when they're 10 years old, I would rather we not inject them with hormones, guys. I would rather we not.
I mean, one thing people don't realize is it's still, the FDA is not for you. They are not there to save you. They are not there for anything other than regulations. They are not there to make sure things are safe for you. Birth control has been on the market for how many decades, and it's still not safe for you. Hormones are new comparatively.
And we're not giving medical advice. These are just opinions of in our life that we've experienced. I mean, there's things you can look up. There's arguments you can make for both sides. But here's the thing. It's not really predicated on safety as much as it's predicated on, one, bodily sovereignty. You know, that's one. Parental rights, of course, is another one. And on the one hand, there's one argument to be made, and that is, it's not my body, so it's not my choice. It's not my child, so it's not my choice. That argument, I do feel, holds some merit. But the problem is that the people on the other side who legitimately feel like they need and want this, and they do exist. I have heard of cases where people's lives were saved because they had these treatments, okay? And I don't want to be like, you can't get these treatments because I feel like it bothers me. Like, I don't want to be that guy.
There is a fine line. There is always a fine line.
Right. There's a fine line, and my question is, are the people pushing this doing it to help people or to push something else? You know, I'm not going to say like the gay agenda. That's such a stupid meme. Like, that's not.
No, but it's also the generation that's pushing it. my generation in particular, where they always tried to be the cool kids. Oh,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but oh, my kid is trans, and are they really though? Are you just trying to be the cool parent?
Yeah. And if they're really young, are they just parroting something? You know, we're parents that raised a kid successfully to the age of 19, and then he ended up joining the Navy. Now he's on his own.
Yeah.
And we're proud as fuck. And I still worry about him. He's going to make mistakes and shit. But we did a really good job, in my opinion. I hate to be a braggart about it, but I think we did. I think that anybody who knew us and saw us compared to our kid would say we did a damn good job, because he's going to turn out, he's going to make more money than us. He's going to assuming he doesn't get blown up in a war. He's going to have a better life than us in every conceivable way. He's got a good head on his shoulders. I'm not saying he doesn't need work, but he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's a good kid. And if you're watching, buddy, I love you. So I'm not worried about you.
And he's fucking happy.
Yeah.
He's
and
fucking happy. He feels fulfilled in what he's doing. And that is all I want for him, is to feel fulfilled and happy.
And we left him alone to make a lot of choices, but disciplined him and gave him consequences when he made bad ideas. And it wasn't, you have to listen to this music and pray to this God and all this crap. People asked me actually a few years ago, and it kind of bothered me, because people asked me, Thorne, you're not raising your child to do magic and to learn about spirits and shit? I said, absolutely not. I want my kid nowhere near this stuff. What the hell? Don't you want him to know what you know? I'm not here to raise an ideologue and indoctrinate a child into a religion. He hears me talk about it enough, and he has curiosity. He's asked questions. I've answered his questions. We've talked about these things, but I've never pushed him towards anything. I gave him a Bible and I told him about witchcraft, like in the same month. It's like, make your choice, dude. This is for you.
And that is why, as a child, I never baptized him. He can make his own decision about religion when he gets older.
Yep. I just hope that, and occasionally he gets a little uppity, and when I say uppity, I mean like he gets a little judgy, and I try to discourage that. Like when we'll joke about Christians, we'll joke about everybody, honestly.
Yeah.
And
everybody's
like,
fair game.
Yeah. But then on some level, I've got to say, like, look, a little bit of satire is fine, but I don't like to judge practices and people who do them in a way that is dehumanizing. Yeah. I don't believe in that. So even though I have jokes, there's a piece of me that says, okay, enough is enough. I love that RPS. Yep. RPS says the best parenting advice I received is don't mold them, unfold them. Yep. Yes. I would say if there's any molding, it's literally just give them realistic consequences, right? So the real world is deadly. So you as a parent have to replace the deadly consequence with a consequence they can survive but learn from. So instead of sticking their finger in a light socket, getting shocked and dying, you cover them with something. When they go near that, you yell at them, or you take a toy away or something like that. You give them a consequence they can learn from instead of die from. If that's molding, then that's more like the unfolding molding, and that's what I'm talking about. So if our kid had come to us and said, "Hey, I'm actually a female," depending upon his age, I'd say, "Listen, we're not going to judge that, but." And if you want to start changing how you look and all that stuff, yeah, within a certain amount of reason, not when I say certain amount of reason, I don't mean like we discourage any bit of it, but what would it be? It would be kind of like, I don't know, we're not going to go to Bloomingdale's and spend $10,000 on a dress or something, like we're going to be reasonable about this. And you're going to take things in stride. You're going to take your time and decide what figure out what you are. Yeah. If you feel like that, have patience. You're just a child. You're going to have a chance to develop into whatever you are. Have patience. And a lot of people today don't have any kind of patience. And they don't know what it's like to develop in a climate of adversarial situations. A lot of people today have been raised with a very, what do we call it? Participation trophy mentality, where they are satisfied too much. They're too coddled. They're too protected. And they're not allowed to fail and suffer consequence enough. They're not told no enough. And I can tell you that confidently as a parent, seeing other people's kids, and the ones that are the good kids versus the ones that are not. A lot of the times the worst kids have permissive parents, and the only ones that are just as bad are the ones that are too harsh. So there's definitely like, you know, two extremes there. You can be too harsh. I don't mean even abusive. I just mean some parents are too restrictive, and that causes a child to become too rebellious. Some parents are too loose, and that causes a child to rebel in other ways because they can't go far enough to get attention, so they got to go even further. So you need to be like, you know, here's certain rules. Don't curse in front of me. Well, now he does. He's a grown-ass man. He can. But don't curse in front of me. And even now I said, just try to have a little respect. If it slips out, that's fine. But try to have a little respect. We are your parents. Don't curse. You know, don't steal. Don't cheat. Don't rob. Don't rape. Don't do this. Don't do the basic stuff, right? Is it really too much? And be home at this time. And give us a call if you're going to be late. Is it too hard? No. And he kept his nose clean. And so I was very proud of that. Like we didn't have to really, he had like one or two moments when we worried, and that was it. He pretty much, I guess that's good. Just who he is. It wasn't even just us. I shouldn't take too much credit for it. So anyway, we're talking about our kids too much, but yeah. So, all right. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Elon taking over. Is it the end of the internet, or is it the beginning of a new era of glory and wonder, or is it something in between? Tell me what you think, and we'll comment on that. I'd like to hear what you guys think about Elon Musk. Are you going to use Twitter now? I know I'm going to start using it a lot more. I'm going to start using it because I feel safer in an environment where the worst I have to worry about is being called out by assholes, not canceled. You know, when you don't have an unfair fight, like I'm willing to fight Mike Tyson. I'm not just saying that. I've actually told people, like, I would like to get punched by him just once, not because I think I have any. That's like punching a bear. Like I have no hope of beating a bear, but I feel like in a good setting, like give him a good thick boxing glove. I'd love to get my soul punched out of me by Mike Tyson just once, just to put me in my place and just be like, I got hit by Mike Tyson, like, you know. So I'm not afraid of the fight. What I'm afraid of is an unfair fight. If you had Mike Tyson and he had a machine gun, I don't want that fight. That's not a fight anymore. That's an unfair situation.
I'm going to give my 2 cents.
Yes.
About the whole Elon Twitter thing.
Yes, I shut up. Here, watch, muting.
I'm a realist, okay? It's not about the glass being half full or half empty. It's about who pissed in it. I would love to think that it is the beginning of a new era. But the realist in me is wondering when the shoe's going to drop and everything backslides. Like, oh yeah, I was going to do this, but guess what?
So for me, like when I look at this, I'm not an avid Twitter user. I use it to troll people. And I use it sparingly because it's an addictive platform, by the way. It's really bad because it gives you dopamine hits with the scrolling and all that shit. And I've been hooked on it the last week or two watching this Elon Musk thing. So it's really been bad for me. But I can tell you, watching it over the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I saw the censorship and shit the day before he pretty much, I guess it's final. I think it still has to be very finalized. Like we're still, like anything can happen, I suppose. But it's pretty much a done deal. So the moment that went through yesterday, it was literally like night and day. People were already describing that their subscriber counts were going up when they weren't going up for months. People were describing it. And I saw people posting things that normally would get you either banned, silenced, 24-hour suspension, all kinds of stuff that normally would have. I've gotten in trouble for saying like little things that are not really bad. I've gotten in trouble and had 24-hour suspensions for. People are saying all of it. They're saying like, you know, what is it? There's only 2 genders. Look, whether you agree with that or not, you should be able to say it, right? Whether I agree with that statement or not, that you should be able to have this conversation openly without fearing censorship. Let's say I'm 100% on the side of the other side. I want these people to be able to say what they think so that we can argue about it potentially. And I might not argue about it. I'm not big on arguing. Like, I'm not really big on arguing anymore. I do it, but I hate it. I hate who it makes me turn into. That's why I don't like doing it. And spirituality, I refuse to debate on spirituality. That's to me, that's like debating on whether you like Coke or Pepsi. I don't believe in debating spirituality. People have said, Thorne, why don't you debate me about spirituality? For the same reason, I'm not going to debate you about what the color blue looks like. So I'm not going to debate you about that. Politics, to a certain point, I will argue, but I also only will argue with people who have a shared interest in coming to the truth, not just beating each other up. Okay, so I'll talk about it with people who have that mentality, not the other one. But Facebook's like a dumpster fire, so I'll just throw more gas on it. I'll go in there and I'll just, I'll talk shit and I'll say shit I don't even mean just to get people riled up. So what do I think is going to happen? First and foremost, if Elon shuts off the algorithms that favor one side and shadow ban or somehow suppress the other, if he does that alone and makes that source code public like he's talking about, if he makes the algorithms public, that alone will level the playing field to such a degree it won't matter what else he does. Okay, if he leaves most of the other stuff in place, I don't want Twitter. I want. What I'm talking about is I want to be able to have dissenting opinions not be repressed. I want to be able to talk about alternatives to the narrative of the day. I want to be able to talk about, I don't even want to say them on YouTube because I could still get screwed here. I want to be able to talk about alternative treatments for the kufifi. Okay, I want to be able to have alternative conversations about that.
Even something as simple as just the latest conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
If it's censored and taken off, it's true.
Mm-hmm. I'm reading comments now here. Yeah, I mean, we don't know. Vex says, I don't know what he'll do. I mean, we always have, look, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. I think that Twitter can't get any worse without going all the way into full, like, Soviet style censorship. It can't get much worse. So it can really only get better unless he decides to do something else. And we'll see how this plays out. The very fact that the entire establishment tried to stand in his way on some level, either by speaking out against it or suddenly giving him investigations or whatever else, or now talking about changing 230 all of a sudden, just because he bought it. When you have the literal cognitive dissonance of people on MSNBC talking about how Twitter, Elon will now be able to censor people on the left. Meanwhile, that's what they've been doing on people on the right. When you have people literally crying out about a billionaire owning a company that's been owned by billionaires this whole time, like suddenly he's the billionaire that we can't let have it because these other billionaires are pissed. Is that so? This is really, I think this is really insane, and it's insanely obvious, Let's see. Yeah, Me Too says, you can DH, you just have to take the consequences. But I don't want the consequence to get my channel shut down. I talk about it where I can. If you guys know, I have a hidden server, a hidden political server that is not, the only way to find it, you got to join my Discord server, and then you got to go to the political channel there and then follow that link and download that to have the political conversations we have. And it's pretty restricted for a reason, because we had arguments with some really, people that came in as friends of mine, and were big fans of mine. And it got into the point where we weren't just disagreeing about a few things. It became existential arguments about things, and it caused a big ruckus. So I moved it off of Discord for two reasons. One, because Discord is very pro-censorship for one thing. And two, because I don't want just anybody, it's not that I wanted an echo chamber. It's just that there's echo chambers, and there's places where we can agree to disagree. And then there's places where it just unravels into a shit show when people just want to have a conversation. And I feel like the entire internet has become this place where you can have a certain perspective and not the other one. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to make a safe space where you can have the opposite perspective and see what happens. And so far it's been pretty good. So I don't know. If you really want to engage in politics, if you got an open mind, you can go there.
And now we're not risking the Discord channel.
Right. And we're not risking the Discord channel because Discord was going to get in potential trouble with the stuff we talk about. So,
what was it, the end of March? They changed their terms of service for that?
Yeah. Yep. And Vex brings up a good point. Elon's words and actions are encouraging, but he's also the guy who can't wait to see everyone take the Neuralink and hook up to the system ran by artificial intelligence. I think that if I was going to be charitable to Elon, I would say that maybe Elon sees it in a way that says we can control this dragon. Maybe that's what he sees it as, in a good way. Maybe his mind is, well, these systems are passive. Like they don't have to. But the thing is, Vex, do you have one of these? You have one? I know you got one of these. I know you got this. I know you got the computer. Do you have one of these? If you got one of these, you've already accepted like that mark of the beast on some level. Let me be honest with you. If you've got one of these, this is already manipulating, reading you and controlling you. Hi, Bill Gates. Hi, BlackRock. Hi, Vanguard. Hello, NSA. Hello, DARPA. I know you're listening. Hello, Zuckerberg. I know you're listening. Until I take the battery out and throw this thing in the toilet and burn it, it's listening to me. Any speaker can be a microphone. If you know basic electronics, you know that if you switch the things just right, literally any speaker can be a microphone. And most microphones can be speakers.
Now, I do have an interesting idea about the whole Neuralink thing. What if he wants all the, not all, but you know, like the other side hooked up to it, and those that are smart enough to not get it, you know, control.
I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, will there be like another species coming out who are free and one is not? I don't.
Yeah.
You know, like, or will it be like, what was it?
Almost like
Deus Ex.
getting the coup shot versus not, and like, you know.
Yeah, like they've got, yeah.
All about control.
I mean, well, like I said, like Deus Ex. Remember in Deus Ex, people with certain implants get like turned into zombies or whatever.
That came to mind too.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't know.
Especially
okay?
in Human Revolution, when that whole thing happened.
Yes, I mean, I agree with that. I agree with that concern. Yes, and Musk has said, Vex has said, Musk has stated that AI will almost certainly take over and kill us all. He literally said that, or something just like it. Yes, he's literally said that.
But that's been in sci-fi shit for decades.
Yeah, no, but he's in the know. Like he's gotten a very strong opinion about it. And I got news for you guys. It's already working on it. It's already working on it. If you don't know what they're planning, I forget the guy's name. He's an Israeli futurist scientist guy. I can't think of his name all of a sudden. I follow his channel. He's got interesting things to say. I follow him because I want to see what the WEF types are saying about the future, because he's very big on informing them. I can't remember his name. It's like Harari or something like that. Talking about how the algorithms very soon, I mean, we're talking within 5 to 10 years. He basically says free will is over. That the algorithms already are starting to influence our society in ways that basic human beings can't control. We can't fight back against. It's already very obvious. And I know this because a few years ago, Facebook basically came out and admitted that they were able to change people's behavior by adjusting their feed. And they were able to tell that they adjusted the behavior. They were able to influence things, how you felt and what you purchased and all kinds of shit by changing your feed. Just by changing what they show you, they could fuck with your head. And they bragged about it. This was like 2010 or 2012 or some shit. I forget what year. 10 years ago, they were already proving that they could do this. Well, here it is at 2022. You think they still can? You think they got better at it? I think that some people are actually more immune to it. I think that some people, for whatever reason, either we are only susceptible to a different kind of propaganda, which may be the case, or we're just immune to that stuff in general. So if that's the case, that could say some things. Maybe that's why there's some people just feeling like complete outcasts. I don't know. I know that, you know, you can ask my wife, I'll hear a commercial and be like, you know what the hidden message for that is, right? You know? So it's, look, the stuff that's going on, we're all running headlong into a future where there's one thing I know for certain. There's only one solution to both AI and globalism and all of these things. There's only one solution. It's not a leftist solution or a right-wing solution. You can actually have that work in either one. I'm here to tell you. As someone who leans to the right, I'm telling you there's a left version that will work. That is decentralization. If we have a system where there is no central authority that tells us all what to do, in theory, this maximum freedom will permit all of these different ideas to play out and will prevent AI from taking over and all these things from taking over. Because it's decentralized. The more decentralized it is, the harder it is to control. It's like a ship with multiple hulls. You can't sink it unless you break through enough hulls, right? Enough bulkheads, I mean. It's a very similar idea. So if civilization has a lot of these cells, a lot of these bulkheads, if it's decentralized enough, it's very difficult to control it. It's not impossible. It's just more difficult. This is why the American founders created a system of checks and balances in the United States government, where you have 3 or 4, if you count the media, different branches of the government that don't necessarily agree on things, and they're all seeking their own self-serving interests all the time. So in the aggregate, hopefully you get a better system than one where it's controlled by one self-serving interest. At least this way, the people can stay witness and say, hey, why are these people fighting over how to fuck me instead of how to help me? And they gave the ultimate power to the people. Meaning it's decentralized. It's a decentralized system. This whole federal government's the most important thing in the world is actually an affront to what they built. Your state and local should be the most important stuff to you. Anyway, I'm getting on a different conversation. A decentralized system does have a drawback, though. If the whole world's got to make a change, it's very hard. Right? If the whole world's got to make a decision, it's a lot harder to do. And if humanity as a species is running headlong towards a cliff, in a decentralized system, it's a lot harder to stop that. Because you'll have some people are going to want to do it anyway. So it's a very difficult question, isn't it? It's a very difficult question. Krasinski's making some really good points. I want to read these. Let's see. I'm gonna do Nameless first, because these are really important things for those who aren't watching the chat, or maybe you're watching this later. Nameless says, Vexed, Elon didn't just mention AI, but a global decline in birth that overpopulation is a myth. This goes for everyone. It's not a racial thing. I'm sort of agnostic on that one. There's part of me that says population is an issue, but I don't disagree with Elon either. You know, if you're a forward-thinking person like him who's saying we need to like leave Earth and start colonies in space, then I agree, population's not a problem. If your plan is to stay a one-planet species, then population maybe is a problem in the future, maybe. I know in 10 years or 20 years we're going to reach like a pinnacle and it's going to stop. I've heard that too. I don't know. I'm not a population scientist. I don't know enough to make a firm, like, it's going to be this way or not. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's right, especially if we're going to end up with like lunar colonies and space bases and Mars bases and Venus bases. Yeah, maybe population's not the issue we thought it was. Or maybe we need overpopulation to fix the rest of the problems because, you know, without a stress, without having something as a problem to adapt to, we stagnate and die. So maybe we need overpopulation to figure out how to fix our shit. I don't know. Maybe he knows something I don't. But Krasinski said, yes, Elon said that AI will most likely be the end of humanity as far as I understand it. His ultimate goal with Neuralink and similar techs is to allow humanity to keep up with the AI, merge with technology rather than be eradicated by it. We'll see how it turns out. And that is not a bad take. Mm-hmm. I think that you have neo-Luddites who will, you know, who will look at something like that and say, hell no, we won't go. Look, this has happened to humanity before. Even in accepted science, we know that the human species diverged into many different editions, right? You had I think it's Denisovians, and you had Neanderthals, and you had Homo sapiens, and you had other ones. And these different human species, they're all humans, they're just different branches of humanity. Only one made it this far. The others died out. Now, they say that especially Neanderthals, turns out they merged with human beings, like 3 or 4 or 5% even, I think in some places, of human DNA, especially in Northern Europe, comes from Neanderthals. Interesting, because I got a lot of Northern European in me, or at least some. So somewhere in the past, a Neanderthal boinked a human being, and out popped somebody that became my great-great-great-grandfather or grandmother. So yes, they went extinct, but one could argue that just like the birds, the dinosaurs went extinct, but now they're birds. Well, humanity, here's the thing. This leads us into a spiritual thing. We're talking about attachment. This idea that human beings have to exist as we understand them forever is an attachment. We've got to let go of this idea that human beings will not evolve or maybe merge with computers or whatever. We've got to get away from this idea that we should never do that. This idea that human beings shouldn't diverge and should only evolve according to nature. What is nature? You know, I hate it when people say that my cell phone isn't natural. Human being made that. It's a natural product made out of natural stuff in the environment. Yes, it had to be reconfigured and synthesized. But is it honey an unnatural product? By the same token, oh, it's produced by bees. So? Aren't cell phones produced by us?
Humans are just as much part of nature as the bees are.
Right. This idea that because humans did it, it's not real or it's less good than nature is a false dichotomy. Nature isn't necessarily better. Trust me, if we didn't have certain scientific advancements, you'd all be dead. I know I'd be dead. I know my wife would be dead. I wouldn't have made it past childbirth. So we can't say that all scientific stuff is bad. We can't say that all, like, you know, that the idea of merging with the machines is necessarily bad. It could be bad. We need to be cautious and skeptical. We need to have conversations. We need to be able to say no. We need to have a decentralized conversation about it. But we shouldn't just dismiss it out of hand as a species. I think we have to look at it like it should be a possibility. Maybe Elon is right. Maybe the best way is to control it by merging with it. I gotta sneeze.
Gesundheit.
Wipe speaker instead. There we go. Avex said it. I don't care if humans do go extinct. I am eternal and infinite, so I will always exist in some form, but I refuse to be Neuralink slave. Yes, totally. I can't disagree with that. I mean, that's like one of those unarguable positions to be opposed to that statement. That's exactly right. But I would also not want to stand in somebody's way who wanted to be.
Yeah. I'm all about body autonomy, and if you want to do it, go right ahead.
Mm-hmm. And they do weaponize everything, and they always have, and they always will. They weaponize the printing press. They weaponize SpaghettiOs.
Well, look at the self-driving cars that people hacked and drove off the road. I mean, for Christ's sake.
You can weaponize anything. We're human beings. We learn how to adapt and ruin everything.
It all starts off with a good idea, and then see where it gets us.
This reminds me of that video that I saw that I used to share everywhere for so long, and it's always been part of my joke. I said, this is why aliens won't talk to us, because it's a video of a chimpanzee with a frog, and it's basically raping the frog's mouth.
Poor frog.
And I'm like, this is basically humanity. Like, people look at that and go, oh, it's so gross, it's a chimp. No, that's basically humanity without, like, the cerebral cortex overlay. That's basically our impulse, is to be that kind of a creature, right? We're how many steps away from that creature are we? Well, if you go to the right part of town, not many. If you go to the right person, they do the same thing. Humanity isn't that different from that chimp as a species. We're really not, as a species, that far evolved over a chimp. We like to think we are, because we've got this beautiful technology. We've got language, and we've got art, and we've got poetry, we've got all this. But as a fundamental thing, we're not that big of an improvement. We're really not far off. What's up, Necro Nikki? What's up, Atropia? What's going on, guys? What is going on? What's going on? Spreader of Dissents is here too. Just say welcome to everybody. Psycho Shinobi. I think Elle arrived. Did I see Elle?
Elle was here too, yeah.
Oh, Elle, if you're still here, what's up, Elle?
There were a couple names that popped in and out, yeah.
I meant to comment on what he said. I forgot. Where did
Jockster's here too.
Ellie Alchemist says, it will be a new era of glory and wonder. I'm going to use it now. I mean, I agree. I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to definitely give it a chance. I'm not going to be a hater. I'm going to give it a chance, and we're going to see where it goes. And then if it turns to shit, I'll be the first one to say it, among the first, for sure. I am not afraid to say I was wrong. A lot of people, I had this one person say, you never admit when I admit when I'm wrong all the time. In fact, I find it hilarious when I am.
Should we tell the story about the car over in Chicago?
No. I don't remember the car story. I forgot.
You don't remember the car story?
No.
We rented a car. It was a Chevy. And I'm trying to figure out what the hell kind of car it was, because it wasn't on the lease agreement what the name of the car was. Really nice. And so he goes, well, normally it's like right here on the steering wheel. What, airbag? It's a Chevy airbag.
In my defense, I was working on no sleep, but
It was no sleep, yeah.
but that's not really an excuse. It was just dumb on my part, and I was very wrong, and it was very wrong in a fun way.
But it was gloriously wrong.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, I guess what I'm saying is, this whole Elon thing, to recap, okay? You've already got the EU threatening him with basically censoring him in Europe. You've got the US government immediately within an hour talking about how they're going to look at 230 and change it immediately as soon as, and then you've got all these people who didn't have a problem when BlackRock, Vanguard, and the Saudis ran Twitter, but Elon, no, we can't have somebody who says that they're going to fight for free speech. Now, he also posted what that means to him. And it sounds very reasonable if that's really what he's going to do. I think that's very reasonable. Like I said, make the algorithm public, make it so that people can see it. So that people know what the algorithm is doing, because if you follow these things like I do, you know that they censor people and they shadow ban people. And I think it'll be really hilarious if Musk reveals that. Now, here's another inside baseball people don't realize. Not inside baseball, but like an intuitive guess. I have a feeling that the reason why it took 2 weeks for them to accept the sale, because he gave them an offer that they really couldn't refuse. Even legally, it's tough to refuse an offer like that, because they've got a fiduciary duty to accept an offer that's made in good faith like that. It would have made everybody money. That's the goal of the company, right? So unless there's a reason why that would be terrible for everybody's money, they've got to take the offer, especially when it's that good. It's like, I forget what, 20%, 30% over what it's worth. Like you just made everybody money. So they've got a fiduciary duty to accept it, which I found really fascinating, because he basically played hardball, like right off day one, like, bam, here's my tender offer. So they took a couple of weeks with their poison pill bullshit and everything else to delay it. I have a feeling the reason that they did that wasn't because maybe they were hoping he'd turn it down, but I have a feeling they were figuring it'll give us 2 weeks to wipe code, to do things we've got to do, to erase names off of certain things so that we don't know it's a DARPA funded project. This way, when he takes over, he can't just be like, oh, by the way, did you notice that the government was censoring you guys and that they did have their fingers in everything? Isn't that interesting? This way, even if he wants to, it'll be hard for him. It's probably built into the contract of sale too. They're probably finding ways through NDAs and all that kind of stuff to make sure that there's things he won't be able to reveal. And I have a feeling that that's the case. So it took them 2 weeks to get all that stuff hammered out. That's what I think happened. Because I think that they never expected, I think they were also waiting for what they would call like a white knight investor to show up and save them, someone else that they preferred to own it, to make a better offer, a counter offering, like an extra $1 million or something, give them a better offer so that they could go with them instead of Elon. And then they maybe even just sell it right back, So there's always that possibility. Yeah. When Mr. Zombie says, when government focuses on one person to silence, then there's something wrong with that government. I agree completely. The fact that the government's saying we need to control people's language tells me everything. Like that's not okay. The United States government is not supposed to do that. This is not. You're not supposed to do that, government. That's not your role. First Amendment, bitch. Get the fuck out of here. Stop that shit. Necker Nicky says, Elon's my hero. So, I mean, so far he's definitely going up a few pegs on my board of cool people. That's for sure. I know people who sort of know him. Actually, I was going to wear the shirt, but I didn't have a chance to wash it. Max Avery, if you're watching this later on, I'm going to give you a big shout out next time I do a stream. I'll probably wear your shirt. Running for representative in Arkansas. Fucking love that guy. If I lived in Arkansas, I would vote for him in a heartbeat.
In fact, on my channel, I just put up the video.
Oh, you did?
Earlier.
That's right.
Yeah.
Of the unbagging of it. It's
unbagging.
corny, but it is what it is. Sarah Lorenzo. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Sarah from Portugal. She says, I'm new here. I'm from Portugal, and I'm loving all this open-minded talk. Thank you, Sarah. We talk about a lot of stuff here. We talk about the dark side, the light side, magic. We talk about everything. I'm a man of many hats. I wear many hats. Some of them Jimmy hats, but only on weekends. Anyway, Atropa says, from what I've missed in the chat, I'm not plugging into anything. Yeah, you got it. You don't have to. That's my point. But that's what I was saying before, Atropa. You probably missed it. Do you have one of these? You're already plugged in. It's just not direct, right? If you got one of these, if you find yourself during the day doing this at all, you're already in. You're already in the matrix. You're already stuck, at least a little bit. Okay. So all I'm saying is be aware. You're not separate yet. You're not really free if that's the limit for you. So that's not a personal attack. It's just a fact. If you've got one of those and it's not like super jailbroken with like, some other OS on it or something, you're in the system. So just revealing the shadow. I'm not trying to tell you not to stay free. I'm just saying, be aware. Like you're already there. You're already in it. I got an S22 Ultra. I know I'm plugged in. I know, right? I know. And how hard are they trying to push Windows 11 like immediately? And it's like, I'm not buying that right now. I wouldn't go on Windows 11 ever. Windows 10 is invasive enough. Like when I heard Windows 11's worse. Until some things change, I'm going to stick with Windows 10 until I have no choice. So,
I got a new PC tower this past, February? Or was it March? I got a brand new PC tower and I'm fine with Windows 10, and they tried to shoehorn in the Windows 11. I keep getting frickin' updates for it saying, please switch to Windows 11.
Yep.
I don't want it.
Yep. And Devious, you've asked a couple times you can go live with us. I don't generally open to the public lately, partially because there's a little bit of a difficulty doing open to the I can do it. It's just it's got to be something I really, really want to do. Now, if you've got a channel that's like really cool, or you've got, like if you got something you can show me, you can email me with a link to your channel. And if I think I like your content or I think you'd be a good guest, I might open an invitation. As you probably see, I haven't done one in a while with anyone that's not family or immediate friends. So I'm not saying no. I'm just saying there's a certain bar to entry, and it's nothing against you. I'm not like all like, oh, I'm better than you or anything. I'm just saying I've got a certain. I can't just. We were doing live calls. Okay, full disclosure. Like last year, Fleshy and I did live calls for like almost the whole year, and it ended up kind of going nowhere. So we did have it happen, but it started to dwindle. I might start doing it. It might start doing it again, but it'll probably be more like a Thursday stream if I do that. Well, so these are just more like little hangouts that my wife and I do.
You also had an issue with people popping in and out, and it crashed the stream.
Because we got a different...
Because of an update.
Because of Streamlabs, I got to use Streamlabs now. So when people come in and out, there's potential for tomfuckery, and it causes some issues. That's why I'm kind of like... We'll have to see. So if you're interested, I'm not saying no. Just shoot me an email at my email. My email is in the Linktree link in the description of this video. It's either there, and if it's not there, you can DM me on Facebook and I'll get it to you, or anywhere else that you know where I am, and I'll get it to you. And you can give me or just DM me on Facebook with a link to your stuff, and I'll get back to you if it's something I really, really want to do. And don't be offended if I don't. It's nothing against you. It's just... Here's the thing, when you're a public figure, a lot of people want your time, and I've got to be able to say no, even if it seems unreasonable sometimes. There's times I just don't want to, and it's nothing against you. It's literally like, I just don't feel like it. I don't feel like doing an interview. I don't feel like doing this and that. I've turned down people who want to interview me. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just not in the mood. So it's nothing... I don't know. I guess I'm qualifying. I'm from Long Island. Can you tell we qualify shit a lot? I don't mean to insult you if I say no, by the way. I'm encouraging you to try, I guess is what I'm saying. Maybe you got a cool channel. Maybe like I'll be like, fuck yeah, come on my show. So send me a link to anything you've done, and we'll talk about it. We'll see what's up. Let's see. People are chatting away about freaking Windows, man. Woo.
Andrew Colts is asking, are you done with the Shadowgate project?
As a public outreach, yes, for now. I would declare it a dramatic success. Mm-hmm. Everybody who's been involved with that, as far as I know, would agree that it's been a tremendous success. Just look at everything that's happened the last 2 years.
Even just the past couple of weeks with Disney and everything else going on in Hollyweird.
Yeah. It was never about changing the world, or like, I remember when I first started that, I had some haters come to me, like, you're going to unleash hell on the world. You don't know what you're doing. People, you're going to let the shadows out. They're going to cause all kinds of chaos. No, I'm pulling the wool off of people's eyes. That's what I'm doing. That's what the point of that was. Shadowgate was, for anybody who understood it and asked to be involved, they knew that it meant we were going to reveal the world's shadow to itself. And Legion in specific was the one we invoked. Legion is literally what you're seeing. It's the collective human shadow on full display in the form of the WEF and the globalists and the far right and the far left, and all these things are now coming to the surface, and people are starting to become exposed to things that they're uncomfortable about. For my whole fucking life, we couldn't have these conversations either because they were censored or people wouldn't understand, and they get mad if I talk to them about what's going on. They'd be like, oh no, that's bullshit. That's just Alex Jones bullshit. Is it Alex Jones bullshit now?
It's not just the wool off the eyes, it's the inner sickness of those coming out and being shown.
So yeah, Blade and Cloak says their one gate's still open, but sometimes the stickers get removed. People who were involved in the old gate project, I may open up those for purchase, those stickers again. If you still have the old link, it probably still works. So if you still have the old link to those stickers and you want to replace them, just go for it. If you can find the link. If not, I'll have to see, and maybe I'll post those. The problem is I don't want random people having them. There was a method that we set up to use them and to link them to specific gates. You had to have a picture, and you had to know where your gate was. You had to know who you were channeling it to. You couldn't just put up stickers and intend for it to hit the target. This was done with a very methodical, protected way of doing things for a reason. We didn't want the wrong energies getting rubbed into it. The most powerful one I did was laid right on one of the most powerful ley lines in the area, and other people did the same kind of stuff. It is still working, and it's going very well. So I get if people want to be involved and help out. Maybe I'll do another one. But for now, I'm just letting it run. And I think it's running its course. I don't know if we have to do more. I mean, look at the world as it is. My own shadows are getting revealed to me more all the time. It's like, holy fuck, this is working better than I could have possibly imagined. This is one of the most powerful. And the thing is, I said to my friends, I'm not bragging here. I said to one of my friends openly on Discord, I said, if people knew what we did, people would be talking about us like on the level of Crowley because of what's going on the last 2 years. They really, if they saw the same time all of this got revealed, we opened it up. Holy shit. And everything starts that year. Holy shit.
Well, it's really interesting, even just to people in our personal lives, and you see the shadows feasting on them.
Yeah, like so much is they can't hide from it.
Yeah. And
we say feasting, like sometimes some people are not meant to overcome. I when I say overcome, I mean integrate their shadow. Yeah. Some people are meant to be devoured by it. It's just a fact. Well, you can't save everybody.
Even down to the person who was shit talking. You know who you are. I don't have to know who you are, but you know who you are, and come to grips with what you've done.
Yep. But this is the thing, I mean, Shadownomicon, the Shadow Gates, they're not about helping or harming. They're about revealing. And if you can't take what's being revealed, it will hurt you. And if you can, you're going to be a much more powerful person because of it. This is why I've called this the Great Awakening versus the Great Reset for the last couple of years now. That's literally what this is. So, yeah. Me Too says, I had to take myself out of Babylon, DH. You see a lot more when you step away. I totally agree. Honestly, to be brutally honest with you, anybody who knows me or sees what I say and tracks what I say, I go through these phases where all I want is a cabin in the woods where I can watch the world burn from a distance. I just want to sit there and see the glow on the horizon, hear the shooting and screaming, and go, ha, I knew that was coming. Oh, well. It's not even that I want to save myself. I just don't want to be part of it. And if it's going to blow up, at least let it be an asteroid so I can sit on my roof, or I can row my boat out in the middle of the ocean where it's going to land. I want my fist in the air. I want the first thing that asteroid hits to be my fist. That's what I want it to hit first. This way I can say I punched an asteroid. That's what I want. Yes, Necro. This is why I use the shadows in all my baneful rights. I agree, Necro Nicky, because the beautiful thing about that is they either change or they get devoured. If they are not suitable, if they can't integrate, they get destroyed. And most of the time, the thing that bothers us about someone is what their shadows are doing. So if someone integrates a shadow, they're more likely to be okay to get around, right? If you've got someone who's just being a complete asshole to you, and maybe they're hurting you, whatever, and you sick their own shadows on them, then chances are they're either going to be healed and change and integrate, or they're going to be destroyed by it. And it's, oh well. It's basic. It's like the ultimate mirror spell in a way, but you're not mirroring what they're doing to you. You're mirroring their own gross shit back at them. Really good shit. Let's see. Nameless says, DH, that's why I moved away from the East Coast to live in the mountain areas of Washington State so I can stay high above. I can stay high and above to watch it all go. I think I got the gist. I think I got what you're saying there. Yeah, I'd also like to go someplace where the psychedelics are not criminalized as well. That would be a nice touch, you know. I don't know. We want to get out of New York really badly, but we don't know exactly where. And I don't really want to go to Washington State or Oregon or anywhere like that. I don't want to go someplace that's a Bible thump, and I don't want to go someplace that's so blue that I can't stand that either. So I'm kind of, you know, there's no, like, unless you like, I guess, New Hampshire, I suppose, there's like no libertarian place to go.
Doesn't feel like there is a place for us, much like the internet.
You know, back in the 90s there was. If I went into Manhattan in the 90s, I would have felt right at home. There was a lot of people who felt like me like that in the 90s. You know, I wouldn't have had so much trouble.
It was a different place.
It was a different... Liberals were different people back then. They were actually kind of made sense, you know, 20, 30 years ago. But now it's like,
well, you know, similar with the feminists. I would get along with the old school feminists, not the neos.
Oh, no, not third wave. Not the anti-man type.
I mean, you know, egalitarian is egalitarian. That's what feminism used to be.
Something like it anyway.
You know?
At the very least, it was like, you know, whatever. How about Egypt? I don't know. What's going on in Egypt? Something's happening in Egypt, or is it just cool there?
Probably too
Tropa
hot.
says, don't come to Ohio. That's where I'm at. We thought about Ohio for a minute. We don't know where we're going, man. Part of us, we feel like if we just go out in the deep country, at least we can be left alone. But I don't like that either. Like, I don't know. I flip-flop because I wanted to have access to the countryside. The problem is where I live, I've got to go through 2 hours of city driving to get to the city. I don't live, like if we lived in New York City, it would be like an hour to get to a countryside place. Where we live out on Long Island, unless we go out east where there's no real freedom because everybody owns it all, it's all private, we basically have to go through the city, all of it, and then a few hours out to get any place interesting. Meanwhile, if we lived in, like, say, Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania or Philadelphia or any city anywhere, it's like an hour and you're in the middle of the countryside again. So I don't know. It's whatever.
Okay, you know what? Screw it. We're doing what Jockster said. Go to Mars and you can literally watch the world burn.
I don't know if we live long
awesome.
enough. I agree with the people who say that if we do this wrong, it's literally just going to be people just suffocating to death on Mars. Like, we got to do it right. I think we should go to I think we need a lunar base first. I think we need to have a really well-established lunar colony, you know, 10, 20,000 people living on it. Then we can think about colonizing Mars. Until we've got one on the moon and something in orbit, I really think we should take our time for. I'm not saying we shouldn't land people on Mars. I think I'm totally on board with Elon landing people there. I think we should take some time before we colonize it. I don't think we're ready for that yet. So. Wichita? What's Wichita? Mr. Zombie says Wichita. I don't know what that is.
Probably Wichita.
Oh, Wichita. Yeah, maybe. People talking about methadone clinics. I don't like to be no further than 30 minutes to the nearest methadone clinic. I hear you.
That's how we feel about high-class sushi joints in our area.
Look, I as a Psy vampire, I can't always be out in the boondocks. I need people, at least access to people. I need access to a good club or a bar, and I don't get that here because my wife and I don't go out much, but at least I feel like I could.
Well, there's no good bars in the area either.
That's it too. Like,
it's all sports bars for college kids.
That's true, yeah.
Times have changed in the past 30 years. We don't have biker bars anymore.
Yeah. Look, just a good heavy metal, or it doesn't even have to be a goth bar, just a good metal bar. Like, I'll take a good place that plays metal music now and then.
Unfortunately, a lot of them closed after COVID.
Thank you, Colby. Don't say that word on it, because you just got a shout out there. I said the word.
That's right. YouTube's not owned.
No, YouTube is not a free speech platform like Twitter is. Isn't that a fucking amazing that we're going to be able to say that soon? Holy shit. One of the big three is finally a free speech platform. Holy fuck. At least we hope it will be anyway.
Hopefully it stays that way.
Well, where do you guys think we should live? Let's get everybody in the comments. If you could have us move out to somewhere, don't just be greedy so you have access to us, because I'm a hermitish kind of guy. Where would you have us move? Like, where do you think that Camilla and Thorne would enjoy living in the United States, the continental United States, by the way?
And please don't say California.
Which kind of sucks, because if California wasn't insane, I think I would love California. I think I would love everything about it, except it's turned into like crazy central. So I don't live there. Like California, like the 80s and 90s. Oh, hell yeah. You want to move to California in the 80s and 90s? Thorne, where'd you go? I was already in the car.
Freaking Lost Boys all the way.
Well, I also want to live somewhere, it's got to be pro-gun. I don't want to live somewhere where I can't have a gun. I'm sorry. That's just built into my blood. I'm a weapons guy. I don't want my guns taken. I want the most constitutional type of life that I can get. You know, Mr. Zombie says New Orleans because they got access to a great cemetery. I agree it's a cool cemetery, but the one that I grew up with, though small, that shit's one of the most powerful places I've ever been. And my wife's been to it. I mean, we go there pretty often, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'd want to give up my cemetery. That's going to be one of the things I don't want to leave, is my cemetery. The one that overlooks where I was born, quite literally.
Makes you wish you could just pack it up and take it with you.
I mean, that's why I said, even if I'm put in an urn, I want at least some of my ashes put there, because I think it's really poetic to be buried in a place that's overlooking the place where I was born. I really think that's poetic. Necro Dicky says, I'm in Indiana, but I'm looking into moving to a city in Michigan where certain things are decriminalized. Something with a mushroom and a maple leaf. I don't know what you're getting at there, sweetheart. But yeah, I don't know. That might be a cool idea too. Yeah, you know what it is? We went to Illinois to see our son graduate from the Navy boot camp, and it was kind of depressing. Like, we didn't love the area. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It just kind of felt like I don't know. It just wasn't that interesting. It was kind of sad.
I think the most interesting thing besides seeing our son was passing by the Al Bundy house.
Yeah, we got a picture of that. That was pretty. We should have stood out in front of it. Nobody's gonna believe we were there now. We're gonna have to go back just to redo the picture, so like one of us is standing in front of the house. Some people are saying Southern Ohio is great. I mean, that's the thing. I hear mixed things about Ohio. There's things I love. I want to have woods. I'm not really into woods or desert, and I've never been. Yes, Sedona. Somebody just said Sedona.
I love Arizona.
I want to see Sedona before I die.
Arizona is a gorgeous state.
Yeah, and yeah,
it gets hot, but it's worth it. It's at least it's a dry heat. It's the moist heat is what does me in.
The interesting thing is Arizona has like not that bad heat because it actually has winters that get snow and shit. So
right.
It's mostly some parts are just dry. They're not even that. They're hot, but they're not hot, and that's why they're dry, like the Sahara or something. They're more dry because of the mountains than anything, and then that causes temperature extremes. Like, I want to go someplace where I can still wear a trench coat at least 2 or 3 months out of the year. If there's and I mean a light trench, it doesn't have to be like a heavy like down coat. I mean just. I want to be able to wear my leather trench coat or this robe at least 2 months, at least 2 seasons out of the year, and I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I like my coats too much to give them up all year round.
Yeah, Trope is saying, we still have a fantasy chamber goth industrial nightclub. We do have Now That's Class, punk metal noise bar. He's about to sell it. That sucks. Now, see, where I am on Long Island, we used to have Detour. Out in Mineola, and when they closed that, like I think it's like an Indian restaurant now. That was like everything for us. Like, oh man, if someone were to open up a new version of that, I would be in heaven. I would be in absolute heaven. It doesn't even have to be like a goth club. I would be fine if it was just like a metal club, metal bar, something like that. Some place where they had cool shows. Not people were like, well, don't you have the whatchamacallit around the corner? We went to see the concert. The Paramount.
The Paramount.
Yeah, the Paramount's within like driving distance, but it's like that's not like a club. That's a place you go to see shows, and that's it.
Not cheap shows either.
Yeah. I'm just, I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait.
We'll find a place eventually.
And like we went from like we want to buy a house for like 120 to 150,000 to like we'll just take a cabin for 50 or 60 right now.
I just want privacy. I don't even care how big the house is. I just want a freaking plot of land with no neighbors that can see me in my backyard.
you know, if I can just write books and work part-time and do this stuff like I do now, I don't have to do that here. I can do that almost anywhere. So a little, when I say a trailer home, I don't mean like a hovel. I mean like even that would be fine, but at least as big as what we got, for fuck's sake. 800 square feet would be fine. 700 square feet would be fine. In the middle of the woods where we can be left alone, but with easy access to a city where I can get good sushi and maybe a goth club, and I'd be fine.
And maybe enough room to put a crafting cabin behind it, because
Well,
I
that's the easy
need
part.
room for my shit.
Yeah, we just buy one of those like little things you just, like the shed you put on the property, and
Yeah.
run a
little
lot of
heat
extension
to it.
cords. Yeah, because you just need a good outdoor extension cord and just run that
Yeah.
to the place, and you'll be fine. So Montana would be our best bet. The problem with Montana, that place is expensive. I've seen, like, it's just pricey for me. Like, you know where it's cheap?
West
Unfortunately,
Virginia.
is Bible Belt area, like Virginia, Kentucky, West Virginia. Like, oh man, that's expensive.
We were
everywhere.
actually looking at the border of West Virginia and Ohio, was it?
I don't remember. I thought it was West Virginia, Virginia.
Maybe it was West Virginia and Virginia.
We got that friend that lives in Virginia. Every time we
Yeah.
talk about it, like I get his dick hard because he thinks we're going to come there, and then he gets all sad because we're not. But he's been trying to get us to go there for a long time.
I got family down in Virginia too, which is cool.
Yeah,
You know, my son's there right now at A school.
yeah. There's nothing. I have to go into Manhattan, and I don't like Manhattan. Manhattan's become like this. Like, make sure you wear a mask. Show us your vax card. There's guys on the subway with machine guns protecting
let
you.
me check inside your asshole.
Yeah, let me check inside your asshole. So it's, you know, the Psycho Shinobi points out, yeah, and I hate living in the Bible Belt. It's true. I look, I love the countryside, but I am not about to sit there where if I walk around in all black, someone's like, you need to have Jesus in your life. I don't need Ned Flanders as my neighbor, guys. Like I'm probably
Knocking on our door with our Baphomet knocker.
yeah. I don't need
Oh
that.
dear, we need to get Jesus in these people's lives.
Well, it was funny because remember we went as soon as we hit like Virginia, every mile was across the size of God's left ball sack, left nut.
Cheese
Like-
huts as far as the eye can see.
Oh my goodness! Like we have a lot of churches around here, but they're nice churches, right? They're not these mega churches
They're
with these
not-
crosses that take over the sky.
They're not
like beautiful
advertised for miles
cathedrals
due to
and
a
little
cross.
Protestant churches that are like nice, right? I don't mind that. I'm not saying I want to live nowhere near a church. I'm not like that. I'm just saying I don't want to be around where if I go to get a job, one of the questions is, what church do you go to? I know a guy who went to Texas. I love the sound of Texas, but he's like, I went to Texas, and they asked me during the interview what church I go to. I'm like, isn't that illegal? Like, how dare they ask you what church you go to? Like, that matters for anything. Ew. No, I don't need that. It's not that I'm opposed to those people. No.
Well, you know, to be fair, one of the houses I was looking at was an old church.
Yeah, that's true.
It looked like a lot of fun to live in.
Well, you know what?
Although
when I
I
told-
don't
remember what
know
I
if
said
I
to
want
you?
to clean that many urinals.
Yeah, well, remember what I said to you when we met? I said, you know, a lot of people want like a big house when they retire and all this. How about we just get a nice little Winnebago or something and just be, and we'll buy 2 cheap plots of land somewhere with a hookup for septic and electric, and we'll just travel between them and live that way. So maybe that's what we got to do. Maybe we need to just be, you know, itinerant people. Like we need to just like embrace our gypsy. Well, I'm more of a gypsy than you are. I think you'd get sick of it, but I wouldn't mind being a gypsy.
I'm more of a homebody that likes to be settled down.
Yeah, and I'm the adventure type. I want to see the world.
Meanwhile, I love road trips.
Yeah. See, Jockster just pointed out one of my things I want. Like, I want someplace I can go as a refuge for a while, especially when I need to get away from everything, and just be able to write and go shoot at shit and eat meat that's cooked over a fire. I mean, I could do that here, but you know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to do it without the sound of cars and shit driving by as I'm doing it, you know? So it's, I don't know. Nameless says it.
The thing about the cabins also, like, you got to make sure that you have heat in them
Yeah.
year round. Because, like, a family member has a cabin, but there's no heated water. There's no, you know, there's a potbelly stove, but that's it. And
Yeah. And some of that you can put in, but
You
that place
can.
is a little bit, I don't know if he could live there full time without some updates, but
yeah, but
You know-
it's a hell of an undertaking at times.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to find a place. I don't want to leave the woodlands unless I go into the desert. And it's got to be the cool part of the desert with like cool mountain, like, you know, cool rock formations. And like somebody said, Sedona. I think Sedona would be, I say Sedona because I'm an idiot. I think Sedona would be really awesome. I really like the sound of Sedona. I don't know if it's like all left or right. I don't know, but it just looks like such a cool place. I really want to see it before I die. You know what? That settles it. This winter, we're going to Sedona. What do you think, honey?
That sounds great.
We'll get on a plane.
I mean, we could pay somebody a visit out there and take a drive.
That's not even anywhere near a drive to them. No, that's
For
like,
me it is.
No, I don't want to do it like that. I want to fly into the area and I know one person that lived, well, I don't know if she still is a follower of mine. I think she saw my politics and ran away. But they were in somewhere around Phoenix, which is kind of reasonable distance from there. You know, we could go hang out with Razor Fist. Let's see if we can get a hold of Razor Fist and see if he would give us the time of day. He lives in Phoenix. Oh man, I would love to hang out with Razor Fist. Like that would be, I don't know if I would get along with him or I'd kill him. I don't know, because he's so freaking loud. I guess we get along real good, or maybe we wouldn't. It's kind of like when like two Rams butt heads. No, I think I would love hanging out with him.
No, I think it'd be cool. Nikki says it'd be ideal to be off the grid, but with fast internet.
Hey,
Starlink is the thing.
Yeah, I was going to say
Starlink. Gonna
Starlink.
improve.
And it's only going to get better. And Starlink is almost as fast as the internet I've got. It's not that much of a difference. Like I was thinking about getting it just to get it.
And
this way, if they shut us down,
over time, it's only going to get better.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Are we sure Elon isn't like the Antichrist or something? Are we sure?
Maybe it's a good thing.
What's that? That he's the Antichrist?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Could be. Could be.
Aliens
and Sasquatch all around Sedona. Yes, Al. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like, isn't that like the heart and center of Mecca of all the New Age? Isn't that like that in Mount Shasta or something like that? Yeah, Spreader of Dissidence says that would be cool to see DH and Razor. I would finally have someone who could out-talk me. It would be great. I'd have to talk with him when he was playing a video game. That's the only time I'd stand a chance because he's distracted. That would be the only chance that I could have, like, getting a word in. I think he is so, I don't know if he reads a script or what, or if he just has like insert titty fucking, like on a, like, does he have like a list of like curses to throw in just to like, if he gets lost, like titty fucking and like that. You know?
As fast as he talks, I don't think he reads.
I don't know. I don't think so, but he's so good at it.
Off the cuff.
I wish I was that good at it. I wish I was. Yeah, I mean, Conscientious Divina says New York changed a lot. New York was the best in the 90s. I would agree. It was definitely up there. I had no problem living on Long Island in the 90s, dude. Long Island and New York City in the 80s and 90s was the bomb. It was fucking awesome. There was a lot to do. There was a lot of like, you know, yes, it wasn't so political. You could be a little different and people were cool about it. People were just generally cool about things.
You know, it's really funny when you think about it, how quickly New York and California both changed around the same timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Right around the same point in time. Must be the Democrats in charge.
I don't know what it is. It could also be the dumb publicans, but there's not the same thing anymore. Guys, okay, here's the thing. I said this before, I'm going to say it again. This is no longer about left and right. That went out the window 5-10 years ago. Left and right is what idiots use now to argue about these things. I say left and right, and it's my fault. That's a miscommunication on my part. I shouldn't do it, and I apologize. I don't think in terms of left and right so much anymore as it sounds. I identify as right because it triggers people who are authoritarian idiots that claim to be on the left. That's the main reason. I am not claiming to be right because I agree with things that all... Here's the thing, the New World Order elite, they're not left or right either. They use the left and the right wing in equal measure to hide themselves and do what they need to do. When they need a certain kind of control in one area, they'll use the left wing. When they need control in the other area, they'll use the right wing. So don't limit yourself to anything. But what I am getting at is that there is definitely certain ideologies that are more one than the other. I am a libertarian. That means I am fully right-wing economically and fully liberal when it comes to social issues. If I'm on that political compass, I'm pretty much within 1 or 2 pegs of the bottom right corner. I'm very much about live and let live. I want you to have your life and I want you to keep your money. I'm a capitalist, okay? Now, does that mean that I think that there's no room for socialism? In a real free society that's decentralized, there's plenty of room for people to be socialist or even communist in their own little enclaves, so long as they're voluntary systems. So long as you can come and go from those systems as you please, so long as you're not forced to be one or the other, then it's fine. So if somebody wants to start a commune like hippies used to do and live a completely communistic lifestyle, there is nothing preventing you in a free society. And I think that's great. I think that if it works, it will work, right? If that's the better way to live, then it will succeed by laws of evolution and nature. The better system will win. And then those people will eventually outnumber the others and we'll have a different world. But if it's not better, then the other side's going to win. So long as it's a free system, by free, I mean liberal, liberated system where you can do what you need to do. You can have your, so that's all I'm saying. If you're somebody who wants to, set up your own little incorporated town that runs off of communist principles, I don't have a huge problem with that, so long as people can come and go as they please and sign in and out of the system as they please. You can make it a contract, like you got to stay here for 5 years or something, whatever. Point is it's got to be voluntary. If it's not voluntary, fuck you. Like that's where I draw the line. The problem is it's never that simple. For whatever reason, not a lot of people are able to exit and hold different views from their own counterparts or their own people in their own system. So although I am right-wing on economics and liberal on social, I am not a conservative. So I have a problem with a lot of right-wing people, and because I'm liberal, I have a lot of problems with left-wing people. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. That's why I don't feel like there's a home. That's why I don't feel like I have a home politically. It's like I'm my own person. Maybe I represent a lot more people than I think I do, right? Maybe. I don't know. You tell me. Apparently at least 30 of you think so, because you're all here chatting away and not giving me thumbs down that much, I guess. So I don't know if I have any thumbs down right now. Let me look. Do I have any? Would it even show me? I don't know. I got 30 likes. So, what can I say? Yeah, Atropa says, like the real definition of anarchy. I mean, technically I'm a minarchist, not because I prefer minarchism, but because I think it's the most realistic option. I do prefer anarchism, though. If it was up to me, it would be total anarchy and we wouldn't have a government to worry about. But that's not going to happen. When we're going to have anarchy the way I want it? It's when Elon Musk wins and we all have spaceships and it's like, we can all fly into space and set up our own colonies, like if you have your own personal spaceship, we're done. Like at that point, that's my dream. Give me a spaceship and bye-bye, because there's so much space out there. There's no way that they could ever take it all over and make it one system. You could have planets doing whatever they want. It'd be fucking awesome. Spreader of Dissidence says, I can get along with just about anyone, but that's not so easy for many. Not trying to be smug. Now, here's the deal with that. In person, yes. You get me in person with somebody, most of you guys know I'm a pretty charming person. I'm not ashamed to say when I was younger, I basically ran a cult. I don't do that anymore, obviously, but I was good at people. We'll just put it like that. So I have no problem. If I'm out in public, I know how to talk to people, even people who completely disagree with everything I say. I will contort what I say. I will find ways to say it. I will lie if I have to, but I will get them to see my side in a different light if I have my druthers. It's very rare that I enter a situation that I can't get along with somebody in person. Online, however, here's the deal. The internet creates a situation where psychopaths and narcissists no longer have the feedback that they have in person. This means that they are unable to limit, censor, muzzle their inner world the way they do normally. If you encounter a psychopath or a sociopath in person, they read you. Now, they don't have the type of empathy, and some people say there is no such thing as empathy. I don't know. They don't have that kind of empathy where they actually are sympathetic. They have a kind of empathy where they just read you. They can, some of them have learned to read body language or whatever, and they can tell when they're crossing a boundary, and so they don't do it. But online, there is no feedback, and so they say, kind of like a drunk person, whatever they want to say. It's not just that they are not afraid. That's the lowbrow understanding, saying like keyboard warriors say what they say because they're hiding behind a keyboard. It's actually much more basic than that. I wish it was that simple, because then you just call everybody a coward. But that's not the case. I know some people are just not cowards. They literally don't have the feedback that your body language and your voice gives them. I had friends growing up for 20 or 30 years that turned on me and everybody like me, calling us all Nazis and shit, who we would disagree face to face, and we would have a valid conversation, a debate, an argument, a conversation, but it was always polite. It was always mutual. There was no negativity. There was no hatred. The minute our conversation starting to go online, off verbal, like we weren't talking anymore, we were chatting, suddenly they would become very insulting. They would become very condescending, very smug, very arrogant, very nasty, very rude.
Ad hominem attacks constantly.
Right. And I'm not saying this like I don't know my own problems. Ask my wife. I never started. If I did, it was like 1 out of 1,000 times I started the argument in a nasty way. My wife can tell you I'm always I don't draw first blood in a conversation. It's just not my style. If I do, it's because you've already done something that I've got to attack you, like you're threatening somebody or something. I'm very, very, very diplomatic, right? I have a lot of patience. I've worked in telephone call centers. I know how to talk to people. You get what I'm saying? So in person, these people, we could have a relationship and disagree, but online, that shit got ugly really fast. Mm-hmm. And it's because I realize I think these people, a lot of them are sociopaths and psychopaths, and they don't realize what they're saying because they don't have that feedback of my body language to tell them that they're stepping across the line. They're not evil people. Like, you can be a sociopath and a psychopath. You're not evil. It just means that you're lacking the ability to discern my inner world as easily as somebody else does. You're lacking some of that empathy, some of those empathy skills. Okay. And so you tend to overcompensate. Again, this is why these people in the woke culture, a lot of them are psychopaths, narcissists, sociopaths. Not all of them. I don't mean to be generalizing and dehumanizing. I'm telling you my analysis is that a lot of them are like that. This is why they overcompensate for their lack of empathy. That's why they overcompensate in these unnatural, artificial, puritanical ways where they say, oh, you can't say these words, you're hurting people's feelings. Because they don't understand what actually hurts people's feelings. It's not the words, it's the intent. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, who you say it to, and why, right? It's not the word. The word's harmless. It's can you read your crowd, right? If I'm in a mixed race situation, like I've had this conversation with Fleshy, I won't actually, even if I'm given permission to say the N-word, I don't say it. I don't like the word personally. I don't think it's a bad word, a good word. I just don't like it. I don't like saying it in a hateful way. If it comes up as a joke, okay, but I'm not even going to make that joke unless I have to, you know? I'm not like that. I don't see it like that. I think it's stupid. But my point is that people will overcompensate and say, now it's a microaggression because you won't say it. This is the insanity of this stuff. This is why people are they're crazy. This is, like I said, some people are lacking actual people empathy skills, and they overcompensate with all of this garbage. That's at least one of the reasons, at least one. So yeah, now here's the thing. I mean, I definitely, when I do like the tests for Dark Triad, I'm definitely Machiavellian, and actually not much narcissism. I often worry about that. I think it was Machiavellian was the max with some narcissism, and what's the third one? What's the other triad? Narcissist, Machiavelli. I don't remember what the other one was. Why can't I remember? Definitely have Machiavellian though. Like I'm proud of I like a Machiavellian would be. I'm proud of the Machiavellian. Which is probably that piece of the narcissism that I talk about. But yeah, so I look at these things and I try to analyze them because I do feel like I don't have the kind of empathy where I feel what you feel. I don't have that. I sympathize with animals very well, which I guess means I'm not a sociopath or a psychopath, because I do feel like I do look at animals and I genuinely care more about animals than people. But yeah, there's a part of me, maybe I've just been like dehumanized. Like maybe I look at people like they're just
cattle.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, it's not even a superiority complex. It's literally like, what's wrong with all of you? You know what the problem is? if you study my actions, you'll see I give people more credit than they deserve sometimes, and then I get surprised, and it's depressing when that happens.
Well, you know what it is too? You see so many people and how, I dare say brainwashed, but like how they sway into certain things, and it's just, there's no hope for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, even down to the people that still wear a fucking mask behind the wheel of their car. They do not take it off when they're the only ones in the car because they're so afraid of things still. It's like, dude, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, I like to be a little charitable, but yeah, I mean, I think it's all a little bit nutty, and you know, and somebody's bringing up politics, and I want to say this again, and I want to say this a lot. I make a distinction between politics and existential revolutions and crises and shit like that. Freedom of speech is not politics. Anybody who tells you freedom of speech is politics and please leave me alone, I don't want to deal with it, they're an apathetic loser that's trying to just, they can't face the truth. It's not, freedom of speech is not a political issue. Anybody who made it a political issue is trying to control you. There should be no politics with freedom of speech. It should be pretty much an absolute with, of course, responsibility. It shouldn't be a question. It's a human fucking right. It shouldn't even be a political question. Same thing with the right to bear arms, same thing as the right to defend yourself, to pursue happiness, to own property, etc., etc. There shouldn't even be a question. That's not politics. That's human rights. And that's where I hang my hat. That's what I'm really talking about. If I ever talk about politics, that's what I'm really talking about. You don't hear me going, I mean, yes, I'll tell you who I support. That doesn't mean that's what my views are based on. If I say I'm going to vote for Trump, it's not because I think Trump's like better than, like he agrees with me or something. It's because he's the wind going the direction more like where I want to go right now. Believe me, if like Ron Paul or somebody was available, I would much rather have him. Okay. But they're not out there. And the only ones that would be, they're not viable. He's a wind blowing the direction I want to go. Now, I could go against the wind and still go where I want to go, but I'd much rather go with the wind if I can help it. So I'd rather go with that wind. The wind is blowing that way, and the wind is blowing that way again. The tides have shifted again. The pendulum has swung again. Things are still going to get worse before they get better. Does that make sense? It's still going to get worse, though. It's not going to get better for a little while. And I think it's going to go absolutely crazy next year. That's my guess. I think depending upon how the American midterms go, 2023 could be the craziest year in American history in 100 years. I don't know if that's true, but I do think it. I am preparing for it, to put it that way. I'm not predicting it, but I'm preparing for it. 23 may be the craziest year, if not 22, but I think 23 may yet be the craziest one. So if you're not buckled in and don't have your supplies and your backups and your plans ready, start now while you still can. Mm-hmm. Wyatt says, could you imagine if Elon notices this video? That'd be awesome. I would, I don't say this lightly. I would like to do a little bit more research. Yes. I'm not saying it's 100%, but my gut feeling is if Elon said, would you come work for me as a janitor? I'd be like, fuck yes. As long as I get to tell you some ideas that I had, I would love to meet Elon. I really would. I hate to be that guy.
You want to clean his gold toilet.
I do. I want to clean his gold. He doesn't have one. I don't think he even owns a house. Shit. The guy's like literally like traveling around all the time.
Yeah, probably.
No, I think he does.
Yeah.
I don't think he owns a house. If he did, it was like a mini house he owned. He owned like a hut.
Frugal.
Yeah. Mr. Zombie, Trump has already apparently said he won't come back to Twitter even if they do unban him. Whether that sticks or not, I think that's a stupid move on his part, but he also has his own Truth Social, so him going to Twitter would be like, why bother having Truth Social?
He doesn't
so
need it.
In an indirect, wild kind of way, Elon taking over Twitter actually kicked Trump in the balls in a way. It means Trump's Truth Social is going to have to do a lot more now than just be different. It's going to have to be very different than Twitter. Like it can't just be free speech, and that's why it's there. This is why Gab's going to get screwed soon. Like, I don't think people are going to use Gab much longer for that, to be brutally honest. So I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think that the Trump not using Twitter is a bad move on his part, but we'll see. We'll see. Huh. Yeah, Conscious Divinus says what I said. Yeah, it's got to get worse before it gets better, okay? I'm not saying it won't get better. I think we can see where it's getting better. The tides are shifting. It is absolutely changing. It's definitely... The other side has come out of the corner swinging, finally. We're finally seeing some aggression and some fight back. We're finally seeing it. Good. That means there's hope, okay? So, in a lot of ways, I feel better about things. But that doesn't mean it's not going to get worse yet. Have you guys heard about all these food plants getting burned to the ground all of a sudden? And I haven't checked. Apparently there's a comparison to all the years until now. Apparently this year is insane with all the food plants burning. Like, so we're going to have food shortages already because of the problem with fertilizer. Now you're telling me all these food processing plants are getting burnt to the ground and blown up by planes crashing into them? There's nothing going on here. There's no sabotage going on whatsoever. Are you sure this is all an organic thing? When you guys are hungry next year, I don't think that's going to happen. We live in America. Chances of us going hungry are very low. I think we're going to have to like do without some things. You might have like, oh, beef's $20 a pound or something like.
But never say never.
True.
Because people that say never, that's, look at Venezuela.
Psycho Shinobi, thank you, brother or sister. I forget which, but thank you so much. I'm glad. Like, yeah, well, anyways, I'm heading out. I hope that wasn't the SpongeBob leaving. I hope you weren't disappointed. But no, you said you enjoyed the stream. So much love to you guys, too. To you, too, Psycho Shinobi. Thank you. But yeah, so, guys, put your head on a fucking swivel. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to name names, but go and get some food supply. Spend some money. Get at least 3 months. Okay, I gotta up ours a little bit. We have some, but I'd like more. Get enough to get you through a growing season, at the barest minimum. If you got enough to get through a growing season, you're kind of okay. If you don't, be prepared to do some things you're not proud of. Why it brings up the fluoride question. Luckily, where I live, we don't have fluoride in the water. Maybe that's why I'm a little different. We don't have any fluoride in the water here. So
you're going to want a filter.
Yeah, I don't need a filter. But if you've got a filter, then you're fine if you're worried about fluoride. I'm going to say that if you know the history of fluoride, at the very least, it's going to make you question why it's in the water. Mm-hmm. There doesn't seem to be any reason. Any. So.
It serves zero purpose. Positive purpose.
Yeah. I don't know what Devious is saying. Devious is saying, I've been uploading EA's videos with the permit. If you've got his permission, then you've got my permission if I'm on them. That's fine. That's not a problem at all. I would prefer my videos stay on my channel, though. Other than that, because I've got alternatives. I've got an Odyssey and I've got a BitChute. So a lot of it's backed up on those. If you haven't followed me on those, you better. All of you guys who are watching me now, because if I ever do get unplugged here, that's where it's going to land. It's all going to go there. So I've got an Odyssey and I've got a BitChute, and all those links are in my Linktree. So that's where you're going to look for that. So yes, if EA gives you permission, he owns those videos as far as I'm concerned, even if I'm in them. And whatever his permission is my permission to you. Okay, so if he's got me on it, I appreciate that so much that you're hosting it for us. Just watch out that YouTube don't fuck you for having EA's stuff on it. I don't think they will, because they're deplatforming him, and not videos, but I don't know. We'll see. Just be careful. Realize you're sticking your neck out, and his haters are now your haters, right? Just watch out for that, especially if you're a smaller channel. Maybe you're a bigger channel. I don't know. I haven't looked you up yet, so. And for those of you who know about the fluoride thing, also look up the Lyme's disease stuff. Operation Paperclip, one of the guys who was developing something with ticks, landed literally like 40 or 50 miles from where I live, maybe a little bit more, and works at a secret lab up until a number of years ago, developing that shit probably. It got out probably, got into the deer population probably, and that's why we all have Lyme disease here on the East Coast. So I think that's literally real. I don't think that's fake at all. I think that's what happened.
I'll tell you though, Florida's looking better and better every second.
You're not fucked, Wyatt. You know, the thing is, you can find ways around it. You're not necessarily fucked. Just, you know, here's the problem, Wyatt. Are you drinking water out of a plastic bottle ever? You're probably getting sterilized. Yeah. I'm sorry, YouTube. That's allegedly. I don't know if that's true or
allegedly.
Not. Allegedly. Because the plastics and things, there's studies coming out now talking about the future problem in America and the rest of the developed world is sterilization caused by plastics. It's a murmur that's in the science community that's starting to bubble up, and they're suppressing it a little bit. If you look this up, your eyes will be open and you're going to realize that this is why they don't even have to do all these kinds of hard kill solutions, megadeth solutions. They're literally just going to let us depopulate with plastics leaching into our bodies. Do you realize that just recently they just found plastic particles in human blood? Microparticles are finally being found in us. It's literally in everyone has it. Everyone's got microplastics in us right now. Gee, I wonder what's that's doing to our body. They are not chemically inert, okay? Plastics do, even if they're a little bit inert, there's enough going on there that you should have a question. You should definitely have a fucking question. Yeah, why should you get a life straw? That's a good point. Kekalitson says shooting blanks might be a bright side for some people. This is one of the reasons I don't want to say this. I can't say what I'm thinking right now, but I'm just going to say that there's certain reasons why I'm not in opposition to certain laws, because it's kind of like, you know, if people want to kill themselves with stuff, you know, far be it from me. I consider it like a form of like evolution taking control. So if people want to, like, you know, take all the bad stuff, take all the bad stuff. I don't want to make your life cleaner to protect you from your own stupidity. If you can't figure out what's bad for you, look, I drink this garbage. It ain't good for me. I know that. So, you know, fuck it. I smoked for almost 20 years, for fuck's sake. I mean, I don't remember. Oh, was it 12 years? I don't know. I smoked for a long time. 2 packs a day for a little while there.
I think it was longer than that, wasn't it?
Let's see. I had my first cigarette when I was 12, but I actively started smoking full-time when I was 18. Yeah, I guess I was 18. So 18 until the year we got married. So what was I, 36, 34, 35? I forget.
How old was I? No, I was...
It was 5 years after we met. Was it 2007?
I think wasn't I 22 when we got married?
Was it 2009 or 2007 we got married?
We got married in, oh my God, I'm having a fucking senior moment here.
Well, we've been married for 14 plus. It was
2007 because our son was 5.
Okay, so 2007.
I was 20.
So I was 30? I guess I was 30.
I was 23.
No, it would have been, let's see, I was 2007. Why is my brain not working? Is that the fluoride? That's the fluoride.
I think we're on the verge of Alzheimer's here.
I think, well, I am in my 40s. I mean, Jesus.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, but you're hanging out with me.
Senior moment.
Senior moment. I guess I was 30 when I quit then. Have I really been off cigarettes for 15 years?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's like I never smoked then. So according to the guy, yeah, I guess I was 30. So they told me, like, if you quit now, if you don't die in the next 5-10 years of cancer, you're going to pretty much live a normal life like everybody else, because that's time for your body to heal. So I guess that's like I did. So if you're I shouldn't be saying this because YouTube's going to get me in trouble. I suppose, allegedly, according to that math, we're satire here, folks. You can smoke until you're about 30, then quit, and you can live to be 100, I suppose.
Just remember, you never smoked before you were 18.
Why not?
Because you were underage and you're setting a bad example to the children.
Are you kidding? The stuff that I did before I was 18 would get most people, like, strung. Like, I did bad stuff, man.
You're not supposed to say that.
All right, all right. Yep.
You're not supposed to say what you did before you were legal age.
Oh, please. That's the millennial, like, rule follower in you.
No, I don't really care.
I'm reading comments. I'm not just being rude and not listening to you.
That's fine.
All All right. So I
figured
think
as
how long
much.
we've been doing this, we should probably get ready to curb tonight. How long have we been on? What are we looking at? What are we on? Hour 12 yet?
It's 6:30 now. We've been on about
Oh,
2.5
2 hours.
hours.
Yeah. So we're going to call it in a second. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys for watching this. I know this won't be as popular because it's more of a political type stream. And again, I don't think that this is politics. I think that this is, you know, human rights issues, and politics is what should we do with our tax money? That's politics. Who should be in charge? That's a politics question. Talking about the current situation, it's very important, you know, to not be, I'm not political. People say Thorne's political. I'm not fucking political. I'm current events. I'm telling you what the fuck I think about current events. It's not political. Political is, you know what I'm political? When I tell you to vote for my friend Max Avery. That's about as far as I'm going to get politics-wise, okay? And I will tell you to vote for him. He seems like a stand-up guy. I agree with him. If you like what if you live in Arkansas, consider him. If not, it's just cool to give him an endorsement because he's a cool guy. He's a good author too. He wrote a cool book on angels. So think about that. But that's about as political as I fucking get. You know, I prefer to talk about the issues, like what's going on right now. And even that, to a degree, I've got to distance myself from a little bit because it gets toxic even to me. So let's see. Diva says, you talked about having a cult. I admire that as I've been wanting that for years and it brings some people together. Could you tell me about that? Don't do a cult, bro. Or sis. Don't do a cult. Cult is a negative. Cult is not a positive. If you mean like a coven or a group, different story. But a cult, no. Cults are pyramid schemes. Cults are where 1 or 2 or 3 people at the top have all of the authority and they channel the energy of people towards themselves. It's a vampiric system. I don't recommend it because you think it's going to benefit you, but ultimately it destroys you from the inside unless you're already a psycho. If you're a normal person, you know, with any kind of empathy or any kind of kindness and compassion in your heart, you don't want a cult. That's not, I've had people like say, can we start a cult now that you got to follow? I'm like, I won't do it. And I've been accused of it. There's this asshole, what's his name? Witch Hunter or whatever, saying I'm a cult leader. Like, fuck you, motherfucker. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about with me, man. I've found every way in the book to try to turn people off from me. And when people try to get in inner circles, I'm very, 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 very selective. I won't do it. I won't start cults. Will I start a temple? Will I start a group? Yes, but I will not start a fucking cult. And there is a difference. And if you can't tell the difference, you got to watch out, because the reason why I can talk about this is because having been like that and knowing what it does, I know why I'll never do it again. And a lot of it I didn't do going into it on purpose. It was, I started like this thing, and I've talked about this before. I don't want to get into too many details right now because I do want to get going. But I started this thing, and what ended up happening was, you know, people started to get fanatical about it. And as a young teenager who didn't have the greatest sense of self, or you know, sense of not attachment of self, either way, you know, very selfish, very, very much, you know, sensitive to, you know, being liked and stuff. As I became powerful in my group of friends, even though I was never, like, I always positioned myself in a way where there was other people who were more charming than me, who I could work through. But I ran this group of people, and it became, even though it wasn't all about me, I ran it in a way that wasn't healthy for anybody. And I had people who were willing to probably kill for me. And that sounds cool, but the damage that does to everybody, including you, unless you're just a complete psychopath, it's not okay. It's not okay. It doesn't help you. If you're listening to anybody, if you trust my opinion on anything, my life of experience, don't get involved in cults, not as a leader, not as a follower. Don't ever do it. You know, I'm not saying you can't know people who are in them, but be aware of what they do. They're not okay. Covens, yes. Temples, yes. Gatherings, yes. Groups, yes. Cabals, yes. Whatever the fuck, fine. Cult, no. Now, here's the thing. Most cults don't come out and call themselves cults. It's just a leader with a following, and they convince people to do shit. If I'm a cult leader, I'm a cult leader that tells you not to join cults. Like, I'm a cult leader that tells you not to follow people. If that's a cult, then fuck you. Like, your definition of cult's too big. A cult leader that says, you know, give me your trust, give me your money, give me your power. Look, Do I siphon energy off you guys as my fans? You better fucking believe it. I'm a fucking Psy vampire. I'm not gonna lie to you about that. Do I take this stuff and go, yeah, I feel good today. I had a good stream. People like my shit. Of fucking course I do. Wouldn't you? But that's not the problem. The problem is that I try to give you something back for it. I try to create value for this exchange. I am a symbiotic vampire now. I'm not a young vampire who just sucks everybody's life force. I try to give something back, something that to me I'm overflowing with. I'm overflowing with my own opinion. So I give you that opinion, and if you value it, then we're all happy. We're all gaining something. If you don't like my opinion, then you don't watch my shit. And then I don't gain and you don't gain. You don't lose anything either. See, here's the thing. I'm a very honest person because I've played the lying game. And I found I actually get what I want better when I tell the truth. When I tell the truth, people are more likely to do what I need them to do. Just a fact. Am I less manipulative? No, I'm just as manipulative as I've ever been. It's just I've learned to create a symbiotic vibe in what I do. It's no longer about just me. It's about a flow. It's about getting that energy to flow in a circular pattern. I gain from you, you gain from me, and we gain from each other. The problem is that as of late, I felt a disharmony in that. Even though all my fans still love me and still work with me and they still talk to me and there's not a lot of negativity, it's just I feel like this energy is tainted lately. And I don't know if it's because there's people that are trying to get my attention and so they're doing something and I'm feeling it. Like I haven't done a lot of like soul searching to find out, but I also feel like I'm changing, and I'm changing in a way that's taking me away from what I was doing the last couple of years into a new territory. And I feel like my old crew, ask anybody, I've always been sort of an individualist to the point where I've kind of left my circles. I've always kind of been an outsider. I'll create a group of friends. This is what I did in high school. I got together with people and I started helping build a group of friends. It ended up being like 100+ people. And then I just kind of sat on the sidelines and just stopped really caring about it. And I just sort of felt like I excommunicated myself, if that makes sense. So I don't know how to describe what I'm saying. I'm trying, I'm probably failing, but my point is like, I always feel like, all right, picture Batman standing on the rooftop of a building watching the city. I've always felt like that guy, not Batman, but just that image. Like think of that image, or think of that guy at the goth club that wants to watch and hang out with everybody, but wants to do it from the corner and is a bit of a wallflower watching other people dancing, but wants to be included that much. And just has a little intimate circle of people around them. That's what I like. I don't know. I mean, could I see myself enjoying being in front of a big stage with thousands of people? Sure. Would I want to live that way? No. Once a month. I know it's a joke. Laugh. I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is I'm not easy to predict that way because part of me would love it and part of me would get sick of it real fast. So don't be a cult. Don't get into cults, my friends. Don't do that. Anyone who's like, oh, Thorne's into cults, EA's into cults. I don't know. Maybe EA is into cults. I'm not trying to start a cult. And I would advise anybody getting into that shit, steer clear of any of that kind of behavior. Get away from it. It's so gross. It's so bad for you. And it doesn't matter if you're at the top of that cult or the bottom. It's like the worst experience. I'm telling you, because if you're going for real spiritual ascension, cults is not the way. Cults is the opposite direction. It's a way. It's towards the path of the archons. It's towards the path of the demiurge. Head towards the Luciferian light. That is the light of individual. And when I say individual, the irony, the paradox of that individuality is you realize you're everyone. That's the irony. There's only one, the divine, and that is you. My wife is me, and I am my wife. We are all one thing, expressing ourselves from different perspectives as the same divinity. You are God, period, having multiple lives, and this is just one of them. Cults go the other way. Cults say, you are God, not your God. You are God. Do you hear the difference? Can you tell the difference? D.H. Thorne is not God. D.H. Thorne's a character God's playing. A cult would say D.H. Thorne is God and you must worship that God. Cult would say you personally are a God. That's a lie. I'm trying to tell you away from that. All right, guys, that's it for this stream. Sorry, rest in peace, eardrums. Anybody who just lost their eardrums. I appreciate you all so much. If you want to support my work, go to the links in my description. There's a way to join my Patreon. There's a way to join my You can buy my books. You can do all kinds of cool shit through that Linktree link. So if you're new here or you're relatively new, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm not good. I'm not bad. I'm an asshole to some and a gentleman to others. I act accordingly depending upon how you are. So I appreciate you all so much.
And remember, we still have products up on Etsy.
Oh yeah, we just got some new stuff on Etsy. Wasn't I going to say, I was going to announce something else. I guess I don't know what it was. I guess it wasn't anything. I'll be on Twitter soon. Watch this space. I'll put a link when I put my Twitter up. I'm probably going to create a new Twitter profile that's not all full of my dirty toilet water politics shit. I'll probably just make it the DH Thorne shit. But we'll see. We'll have to see. They'll probably overlap a little bit. So maybe I'll just keep the one I got going. So I appreciate you guys. And until next time, I'll probably be doing a stream this Thursday also. This is just kind of a special event stream because of Elon and because I haven't done a lot of videos lately. So I appreciate you guys, and I'll check you soon. Say goodnight, sweetie.
Have a most splendid evening, everybody. It was nice to be here.
Finally let her get a word in edgewise.
Finally a day off.
Oh, that too. Yeah, well, it's over now. You'd be home by now.
I know.
All right, guys.